Chapter 62-74. Hearing that, Lin Xian's expression changed. There was an intruder suppressed in the dungeon. Who was it? This time, other than Yu Wudao, the Red Fish Emperor was with him. They were all his friends. Could it be him? Damn it, you're courting death. Lin Xian roared and attacked again. Their bodies had completely melted, and their souls had been shattered. They were completely terrified, but they could feel a trace of killing intent in Lin Xian's eyes. He searched their souls and opened his Rinnegan. The power of the 6 paths merged into their souls and forcibly took them. For example, Leaf Dao Denier was the one imprisoned in the dungeon. However, these two didn't know about Yu Xian's situation. There seemed to be some memories in their souls that had been forcibly erased. With another cold snort, Lin Xian activated the Great Solar Indestructible Palm and directly killed the two of them. The two of them were just ordinary Great Emperors, so they were no match for Lin Xian at all. Boom! Boom! The fall of the 2 Great Emperors caused the world to tremble and rain of blood to fall. Everyone was stunned. The Great Emperors had fallen. Who was it? At this moment, the array formation competition was going on. The people of the East County Mansion and the Ice family were all here. In the distance, there were countless spectators. They looked up at the sky with horror. Which clan's martial monarch had fallen? The people of the Ice family were shocked. They quickly gathered the Great Emperors and heaved a sigh of relief when they found that it wasn't their family. At the same time, they laughed. Haha, it's the East County Mansion. That's great. A Great Emperor from the East County Mansion had died. This time, the other party would definitely lose. They could even devour the other party. There was another group of people who were shocked. They were the people of the Array faction. The first elder and the others' expressions changed. Not good, one of their people had died. The first elder naturally knew about this operation. However, in his opinion, it was foolproof to attack only one Great Emperor. Therefore, he didn't take it to heart. However, the situation was beyond his expectations. Damn it, who was it? Someone was helping that kid. Could it be the East County Mansion Lord? Damn it, since that was the case, he would directly destroy the East County residents. He snorted coldly and instantly attacked. He tore open the array formation of the East County Mansion and rushed over. However, what awaited him was an even more terrifying formation that directly enveloped him. The first elder was scared out of his wits. This is the power of the Heaven Divination Formation. How is this possible? Could he use the Heavenly Divination Formation? He was in a daze. He didn't believe it. Inside the Great Sky Expansion Formation, Lin Xian and the East County Governor stood there and looked at the Great Elder with a cold smile. The Great Elder roared. You guys really joined hands. East Lord Prefecture Lord, do you want your clan to be wiped out? I'll give you a chance. Join hands with me and suppress this brat. Also, come with me to see the formation Immortal. Tell her how you activated the Dian formation. If the Array Immortal is happy, he might even let you enter the Array sect to cultivate. In the face of such words, the East Lord Chief was unmoved. Lin Xian sneered. You're about to die, and you're still jumping around here. With just you guys? You want to kill me? The Great Elder roared. I'll let you see the formation of our Array sect. His strength was not weaker than the East County Governor's. Moreover, his formation was definitely stronger than the other parties. In an instant, he rushed out. The formation covered the sky and the earth as it charged forward. As for the Great Elder, he quickly retreated because he wanted to leave the Great Sky Expansion Formation. He knew how terrifying this formation was. Boom! In the next moment, the Great Elder stopped. He felt a pair of eyes staring at him. He turned his head abruptly, but he couldn't see anyone. Who was it? Get out here! He roared crazily. This time, it was not only Lin Xian and the East County Governor who attacked. It was also the Dian formation. Only the Heavenly Cycle Master could activate it. The other party was also here. However, the Great Elder couldn't see it. The Heavenly Cycle Master attacked and directly controlled the other party. Lin Xian said. Senior, be careful. There's a soul seal of a righteous immortal inside. Don't touch it. The Heavenly Cycle Master nodded. The great sky expansion formation surged into the Great Elder's mind and formed another seal. With a plop, the Great Elder knelt in front of him. Greetings, Master. He spoke quickly. The East County Governor was stunned. This was a powerhouse who was not weaker than him. In fact, he was even stronger than him. But at this moment, he actually submitted in an instant. What kind of method was this? He also felt his hair stand on end. At the same time, he was extremely glad. Fortunately, he had joined forces with Lin Xian. That's right. 3 days before the formation competition, Lin Xian opened his eyes and decided to watch the formation competition. At the same time, he had another plan, which was to attack Yuxiener. At the very least, he had to get the longevity fruit. He planned to join forces with the Heavenly Cycle Master. As expected, the Heavenly Cycle Master agreed. It was time to end the grudge from back then. At the same time, Lin Xian planned to join forces with the East County Governor because he needed the other party to cooperate with him. First, he cured Lan Yingying's illness. In fact, this illness was very simple. It was related to the Heavenly Cycle Master. However, at that time, the Heavenly Cycle Master's soul was not clear, so Lan Yingying would definitely die. Now that the Heavenly Cycle Master had woken up, Lan Yingying's illness was naturally cured. The East County Governor was very happy that Lan Yingying's illness was cured. She was the heir of their family. Lin Xian then told him about the sky divination array. Of course, he did not mention the core situation. He also did not mention the grudge between the two land immortals. He only said that Yuxian would definitely obtain the sky divination array. If they did not join forces this time, the East County Governor would definitely die. The East County Governor thought about it again and asked Lin Xian. Lin Xian released some more news, which shocked the East County Governor. It turned out that there was another land immortal in the sky divination array. He quickly agreed. Then, the previous scene happened. Now, they controlled the Great Elder. The governor asked. Lin Gongzi, what should we do next? Lin Xian said. Everything will continue as usual. You will continue the competition tomorrow. As for me, I will sneak into the array sect. I want to save my companions first, and then I will attack the array sect. Attack the array sect? Even though the Great Elder knew about this idea, he still gasped when he heard it with his own ears. That was a truly colossal existence. It was settled. Lin Xian looked ahead and said, Senior, I will need your help when the time comes. No problem. Zhou Tianxia nodded. However, I can't hurt her. Lin Xian said. You don't have to hurt her. You just need to restrain her so that she can't move. Leave the rest to me. Lin Xian held the purple gourd tightly. He was ready to use some of his trump cards. Outside, countless people were still nervous. What happened? 2 great emperors had died. The people of the array sect even planned to force their way in. However, at this moment, the Great Elder walked out again and said, Is everything all right? Those 2 great emperors were monsters. They had a grudge with the East County Governor before. At this moment, they were killed by the East County Governor. It turned out that such a thing had happened. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The Great Elder returned to his residence, and immediately sent a message to the Array Immortal. The Array Immortal naturally knew about the death of the 2 great emperors. She asked, Did the plan fail? The Great Elder said, Yes, it failed. However, the situation is still under control. Today, I plan to stabilize the East County Governor and the intruder first. I will attack tomorrow. This time, I will personally attack. I guarantee that nothing will go wrong. Okay. The Array Immortal nodded. She was very confident in the Great Elder's strength. As long as it wasn't an Earth Immortal, no one was a match for the Great Elder. The next day, the array formation competition continued. The Ice family was full of confidence. They decided to defeat the other party in one go. They didn't even need to compete in the third round. The East County governor was under a lot of pressure. Ordinary disciples didn't know these secrets at all. They even thought that Lan Yingying was dead. However, at this moment, Lan Yingying walked out. Her face was full of smiles, and there was no trace of illness on her body. Today, she was going to participate in the battle. At the same time, Lin Xian also set off. He went to the Array sect. Chapter 6275. The battle between the two top formation families had already begun. Everyone cried out in surprise. This battle attracted the attention of most people in the seventh heaven. However, they didn't know that an even more terrifying battle was about to break out. The location of the battle was the Array faction. There was no one guarding the Array faction because their formations were enough to defend against everything. Furthermore, this was an absolute victory. No one dared to come here. But today, a figure had come. Looking at the countless palaces and formations in front of him, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He took out a few talismans. These were all formation talismans. They were given to him by the Grand Celestial Master. These were the formations made by the Grand Celestial Master. With one talisman, Lin Xian's figure was swallowed by the void and disappeared. In addition, he took out another talisman and rushed forward. In an instant, he entered the Array faction like a bolt of lightning. After entering, Lin Xian was still hidden in the void. He began to search for Yi Dao Denir. Soon he found him. He didn't find Yi Dao Denir, but he found the underground palace. According to the dead great emperor, Yi Dao Denir was suppressed in the underground palace. Lin Xian entered the underground palace. This underground palace was like a cage, imprisoning countless powerful beings. These were all people who were against the Array faction. None of them died. They were captured and tortured here. The disciples of the Array faction held sharp blades in their hands and tortured them. They sneered. Now you know the consequences of going against the Array faction. You will never die. You have to live in despair. Ha ha. They were extremely proud. However, when they saw Yi Dao Denir, they frowned. This person was also a prisoner. However, they couldn't hurt him. That was because his physique was very strong. I'll do it. This time, an old man walked out. He was a super great emperor. He was the elder of the dungeon and was responsible for guarding the dungeon. Now that he was making a move, the disciples of the Array faction were overjoyed. Great, the elder is personally making a move. This kid is dead for sure. No matter how strong he was no match for them. As expected, a super grand emperor ripped through Leaf Dao Denir's defenses. Leaf Dao Denir's golden blood dripped down onto the ground, but he didn't even frown. He said coldly, "My companions will come to save me. At that time, all of you will be dead." Companions? Intruders like you are at most super great emperors, but our Array sect has Earth immortals. Forget about your companions. No matter how strong they are no match for an Earth immortal. If he came, he would only be throwing his life away. How laughable! You actually still have such hope. Looks like I'll have to let you experience what despair is. The super great emperor snorted coldly. If you touch him again, I'll make you wish you were dead. At this moment, a cold voice echoed from the void. Everyone was horrified. Who was it? He wasn't from the Array faction. Leaf Dao Denir was overjoyed. You're here. He smiled. He knew that Lin Xian would come to save him. That's right, the person who came was indeed Lin Xian. He appeared in the dungeon. His appearance stunned everyone in the dungeon. How did he get here? The old man in front also turned his head abruptly. However, when he saw that Lin Xian was just a great emperor, he laughed. Ha ha. Is that what you're hoping for? Just a great emperor. Such a person is just an ant. Let's see how I kill him. Men, suppress him for me. The old man waved his hand, and immediately 7 figures walked out from the surroundings. These 7 figures were extremely terrifying. Some of them were great emperors, and some were not. However, at this moment, They had a peerless array in their hands, and they had the combat strength of a great emperor. How dare you behave so atrociously here? You're dead. These 7 people were all the old man's disciples. They decided to suppress the other party in an instant. The 7 of them rushed over, their hands shining with extremely terrifying light. As for the other disciples, they all sneered. Not to mention great emperors, even super great emperors couldn't be arrogant in front of them. Boom! Facing the attack of the 7 people, Lin Xian continuously attacked. Great solar indestructible palm. The golden right hand and the power of an immortal erupted together, turning into a peerless light that instantly surged forward. After the explosion, the 7 great emperors were reduced to ashes. They were just ants. Lin Xian retracted his palm and walked forward. How dare you attack my companions? You're all dead. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with piercing cold killing intent. A dragon had a reverse scale, and those who touched it would die. Therefore, none of the disciples of the Array faction in the underground palace could escape. How was this possible? They were all dead. He killed 7 great emperors in an instant. Among them, there were 2 real great emperors. The surrounding people were stunned. The disciples of the Array faction were trembling in fear. As for the prisoners, they were trembling with excitement. Ha ha ha, the Array faction also has such a day. Shut up! The old man in front roared. He was really stunned. The next moment, he gritted his teeth. Kid, go to hell. He was a super great emperor. At this moment, he attacked aggressively. A purple long saber appeared in front of him. Like an overlord, it slashed out, shattering heaven and earth. Not only that, the old man attacked again. He opened his mouth and spat out a bolt of lightning. It was a terrifying bolt of lightning. It broke heaven and earth. 2 ultimate attacks. The other party should be dead, right? Lin Xian's speed suddenly increased. He dodged the 2 attacks in an instant, and arrived in front of the old man. The old man sneered. I'm a super great emperor. You want to fight me in close combat? Stupid thing. He threw out a punch. Lin Xian didn't resist. With a wave of his hand, another array talisman appeared. This was a spatial array talisman created by Zhou Tianshi. It instantly enveloped the old man. Boom! The array flickered and the old man disappeared. Was he teleported away? The disciples of the Array faction were terrified. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Not only was he teleported. In the next moment, the old man left the Array faction and came to the Endless Mountains. After he came out, he roared, Kid, you're dead! He was ready to kill his way back. However, he underestimated this Array formation. Zhou Tianshi was an Earth immortal. Even if his body was broken now, he was still not someone a super great emperor could resist. In addition to spatial teleportation, this Array formation also had another move, which was spatial cutting. In the next moment, space was split into 8 pieces. The old man's body was torn into pieces, and even his soul was destroyed. He screamed miserably and died. Between heaven and earth, the sea of blood rolled again. This time, the world rumbled as if it was the end of the world. Everyone went crazy. Another great emperor had fallen, and it was a super great emperor. Who was it that did it? They were all stunned. An angry roar came from the Array faction. It was Yuxieners. She could naturally feel the old man's death. An enemy had come in without anyone noticing. Damn it! With a roar, the entire Array faction rolled violently. Everyone exclaimed, Not good, get ready, a powerful enemy is attacking. They all rose into the air. Even the power of an Earth immortal came crashing down from the sky. Everyone went crazy. Who was the enemy? They were so reckless. Who dared to challenge them? Before they could discover the enemy, an earth-shattering sound suddenly rang out. The ground of the Array faction was torn apart, and an endless destructive aura shot into the sky. Some of the disciples who were close were instantly turned into ashes. Chapter 62-76. This power that came from the ground was really too terrifying, as if it was going to destroy the world. Ordinary disciples of the Array faction didn't even have time to react before they were turned into ashes. How could this be? Those who were still alive had faces full of fear and terror. Even the few Emperor-level experts were dumbfounded. Who on earth was this divine being? It was so powerful. Could it be that an Earth Immortal had come? But that was impossible. In the seventh heaven, other than their Array Immortal, were there any Earth Immortals? The Array Immortal was also stunned. This power surpassed everything. She waved her hand, and a sword light flew out, splitting heaven and earth. All the void disappeared. Then she saw two people. That's right, the dungeon was already in ruins, and only two people were still alive. They were Lin Xian and Yi Wudao. It's you! When she saw Lin Xian, she was extremely surprised. She had seen this person through the eye of the Array before and knew that he was an intruder. However, wasn't he still in the Array formation competition? Why was he here? Moreover, the other party had such terrifying power. Damn it, I was tricked. Yu Xianer's expression changed. The figure she saw before was fake. This was the kid's real body. A mere great emperor could actually deceive her. That was impossible. There must be the power of an Earth Immortal inside. It was the Great Sky Divination Array. That old thing really didn't die. You joined forces with Shou Tianshi. Where is he? Tell him to get out here. Yu Xianer shouted coldly. Heaven falling and earth shattering. She was really angry. Lin Xian snorted coldly. You are really shameless. Without him, would you be where you are today? Not only did you not show any gratitude, you even tried to kill him. You don't deserve to be human. How dare you be so rude to our righteous immortal? The experts of the Array faction in front were furious. They quickly rushed over. An elder attacked, his body burning with terrifying flames. Another great emperor had a terrifying gale on his body, as if he was the ruler of the wind. In an instant, 5 tornadoes were formed. Some people even used hidden weapons that filled the sky. In short, because of Lin Xian's words, the experts of the Array faction attacked one after another. Lin Xian laughed. He took out the immortal slaying sword and slashed open the sky. The piercingly cold sword light transformed into countless huge dragons that swept in all directions. After coming out, they no longer used their golden right hands. Instead, they used their super powerful sword techniques. Puff! Puff! Boom! All of the attacks were shattered by the sword chi. What? All of them were destroyed. This was impossible. Seeing how terrifying the other party's strength was, the experts of the Array faction were dumbfounded. One should know that if they were to join forces, they would be able to fight against anything. Even if it were a super emperor, there was no way they could be this strong. But why was the other party so terrifying? With just you guys? Rubbish. Lin Xian sneered and used the heavenly eagle blink to appear in front of an emperor. With a single slash, he split his opponent into 2 halves. Then, he quickly retreated. Another sword strike pierced through another person. In the blink of an eye, the blood of 2 emperors dyed the sky red. Everyone was stunned by this scene. They frantically retreated. Array Immortal, please take action and suppress this thief. He was indeed a heaven-defying genius. As expected of an intruder from the outside world. But so what? No matter how strong he was no match for him. Yu Xianer snorted coldly and stretched out her hand. Her jade-like hand cut through heaven and earth. Even a super great emperor would be slapped to death by this attack. Lin Xian naturally didn't dare to fight against an Earth Immortal. He quickly retreated and dodged the most fatal attack. However, this palm directly covered the entire sky. It wasn't just the Array faction. The people outside the Array faction also saw it. Heavens, this was the power of an Earth Immortal. An Earth Immortal was attacking. The people in the Array formation competition also stopped and turned their heads to look. It was the Array faction. Someone was attacking the Array faction. Who was so reckless? The people of the Ice family were all stunned. The experts of the East Lord Manor were also at a loss. The East County Mansion chief clenched his fists. Lin Gongzi had already begun to move. He secretly circulated his power and waited for the order. Array faction. The huge palm that covered the sky enveloped down. Lin Xian quickly dodged. At the same time, he took out a few array talismans and threw them out. Those array talismans erupted with endless power and blocked the palm. However, the palm soon enveloped him again. It was indeed the power of the great sky divination array. However, it was useless. You were no match for it. Prepare to die. A cold and heartless voice sounded. At this most critical moment, a ray of light tore through the air. An array formation descended from the sky and enveloped Yu Xian'er's palm. With a boom, the two collided, causing heaven and earth to shatter. Yu Xian'er's palm swept past Lin Xian. Lin Xian was pushed back by this force and spat out blood. However, he smiled. He knew that the Heavenly Cycle Master had come. That's right, the Heavenly Cycle Master had come with the Great Sky Divination Array and blocked this attack. Yu Xian'er was instantly flustered and exasperated. At the same time, her hair stood on end. A crazy light appeared in her eyes. She no longer paid attention to Lin Xian. Instead, she stared at the array formation in the sky. Her voice trembled. You're not dead. You're really not dead. I knew you wouldn't die so easily. Why? The Heavenly Cycle Master's voice came from the array formation in the sky. His voice was laced with pain. Why do you want to harm me? You're already immortal. Why do you still want to harm me? The disciples of the array faction were stunned by this scene. They didn't know what was going on. No one dared to speak. Yu Xian'er's body trembled. Then, she looked up to the sky and laughed. Ha ha ha, why? She laughed until tears came out of her eyes. Why? Immortal? Am I really immortal? I'm only immortal because I can stay by your side. I don't want this kind of immortality. I don't want to stay by your side. I want to walk out of the seventh heaven. I want to leave Immortal City. I want to go to a wider world. I want to become a god. I want to be the ruler of heaven and earth. Do you understand? At this moment, Yu Xian'er seemed to have gone crazy. The others were scared silly. Lin Xian was also silent. The Heavenly Cycle Master sighed. I didn't expect you to be so ambitious. Ambitious? It's all because of you. You have the immortal fruit. Why didn't you give it to me? If you gave me the immortal fruit, I would have become a land immortal. It's all because of you. You didn't give me a way out. So, if you're heartless, don't blame me for being heartless. It was actually because of this reason. The Heavenly Cycle Master laughed bitterly after hearing this. His face was full of bitterness. What a ridiculous reason. Lin Xian also frowned. The next moment, he snorted coldly. You idiot woman. The immortal fruit wasn't prepared for you at all. The immortal fruit is only for us intruders to live. You want to use it to become a land immortal? What a joke! Stupid! You little ant, how dare you provoke me? Yu Xian'er was angry and glared at him. Her eyes turned into a peerless divine sword and shot towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian hid in the sky divination array and dodged this attack. The next moment, he walked out again and said coldly, Idiot woman, look carefully. What is this? Then, he waved his hand. 31 immortal fruits floated around him. Chapter 62-77. How was that possible? How could he have so many immortal fruits? Yu Xian'er went crazy when she saw that. She knew that Zhou Tianshi only had 11 immortal fruits when he was at his peak. But now, he had 31 immortal fruits, which was far more than what Zhou Tianshi had. And he was only a great emperor. What was going on? Why did he have so many immortal fruits? Could it be that she was really wrong? Was this thing useless for cultivation? Lin Xian sneered. If what you said is true, I can become an earth immortal with the immortal fruits. If I have 31 immortal fruits, won't I become a heavenly god? But I'm only a great emperor now. You're wrong. Admit your mistake. Lin Xian's cold shout sounded like thunder. Yu Xian'er was so angry that her whole body trembled. Admit her mistake? What a joke. Even if she was wrong, so what? She could only make the best of it. Let her admit her mistake to Zhou Tianshi and make up with him. What a joke. She had caused Zhou Tianshi to suffer a fate worse than death. How could he let her go? She didn't believe it. Therefore, the only thing she could do now was to kill them all. Everyone, listen to my order. Kill them all. Yu Xian'er's voice resounded throughout the world. The disciples of the Array faction roared and charged over. Yu Xian'er continued. Ice family, kill the people of the East County Mansion. I'll give you all the power of the East County Mansion. In a distant place, the people of the Ice family were having a competition. At this moment, when they heard this, their bodies trembled. Were they going to attack the East County Mansion? While they were hesitating, the East County Mansion Lord roared coldly, and suddenly attacked the leader of the Ice family. You're courting death. The leader of the Ice family roared. In that case, I'll destroy the East County Mansion. He charged over. But at this moment, the first elder, who had been acting as the referee, secretly attacked the back of the leader of the Ice family. Boom! The leader of the Ice family was sent flying. He spat out blood and his body was covered in blood. He was seriously injured. Why? How dare you sneak attack me? He was stunned. Shouldn't the first elder work with him to kill the East County chief? But the great elder shouted coldly. Under the master's order, we hunt you down. Kill! The East County chief waved his hand and led his family's forces to charge over. The two top clans were engaged in a great battle. Adding on the fact that the first elder had joined forces to attack, the Frigid Ice clan was now in grave danger. The battle between the Array Masters was even more terrifying. The strength of the Array Masters was truly terrifying. Now that all of them were unleashed, it was definitely a heaven-splitting, earth-shattering event. Leaf Dao Denier was trembling, completely incapable of standing up to this level of power. Lin Xian also let out a furious roar and slashed out with his long sword, sweeping it in all directions. The sword was like a dragon, and tens of thousands of dragon shadows swept across, creating countless cracks in front of him. The array formations that filled the sky were all shattered. Yu Xian'er's expression changed drastically. She didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. He couldn't let this brat be so arrogant anymore. She sent a palm strike towards Lin Xian. At this moment, Heavenly Cycle Master made his move. He activated the Heavenly Divination formation and charged over to stop Yu Xian'er. He said, "It's time to settle some grudges. Old thing, get lost." Yu Xian'er roared angrily. With her roar, the entire world was shattered. At this moment, she seemed to have turned into a god, and everyone could feel a destructive power. Yu Xian'er was really angry. She said, "You're just a remnant soul, how dare you fight with me?" She attacked the Heavenly Divination formation, causing it to shake nonstop and its light to scatter in all directions. However, it didn't break. Heavenly Cycle Master said, "This is the only array formation that you didn't participate in. You don't understand the Heavenly Divination formation. It was born from heaven and earth, and you can't destroy it. If I can't destroy it, then I'll destroy you," Yu Xian'er roared. She ignored the others and focused on killing Heavenly Cycle Master. If the Array Master was destroyed, so be it. As long as she was alive, she could start another sect at any time. In the sky, the power of the land immortals collided, destroying the world. Everyone retreated far away. Kill these two intruders. The powerhouses of the Array Master attacked Lin Xian and the others. Soul Storm! The second elder roared, and an array formation instantly enveloped Lin Xian's head. On the other side, the third elder roared, "Array lock heaven and earth!" The endless horizon appeared, trying to suppress Lin Xian. The fourth elder roared, "Myriad thunder array!" Suddenly, tens of thousands of lightning flashed between heaven and earth, and each lightning turned into a thunder dragon, sweeping in all directions. This was a destructive power, and it also attacked Lin Xian. The fifth elder raised his hand and struck out a patch of darkness, causing the world to darken so much that one could not even see their own fingers. The sixth elder set up a poison array. Once a great emperor breathed in this poison, he would die instantly. The elders used their peerless array formation, which shocked the world in an instant. The other disciples of the array master were all excited. This time, you're going to die, right? This kid will never be able to withstand it. Our array master is invincible. They were full of confidence. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian was still not afraid. He laughed and summoned the great dragon sword soul with all his strength. With these array formations of yours? Is this also called superpower? Let me show you what true power is. Heaven-defying sword technique. Lin Xian performed his ultimate sword technique, and the power of the gods poured into the great dragon sword soul. This caused the sword technique to change completely. With a slash, it turned into a dragon soul, roaring towards the sky. It attacked the soul array formation. The dragon soul roared with supreme power. This power was even more terrifying than the soul array formation. The other party's soul array formation kept shattering in the dragon soul. When the second elder saw this scene, his face was filled with madness. This is impossible. How can your soul be so terrifying? I don't believe it. Boom! He retreated as if he was struck by lightning. It was extremely miserable. Lin Xian slashed out again, and it turned into 108,000 sword steels. They soared into the sky, enough to suppress heaven and earth. This sword attacked the heaven and earth lock array formation. The stone steels and sword steels in the sky collided. Those stone steels turned into powder and scattered on the ground. How could this be? Is my array formation broken? The third elder's body trembled as if he had seen a ghost. This array formation was an ultimate technique. He could even suppress a great emperor of the same level with a raise of his hand. But now, it was shattered by the other party's sword. Not only that, he found that the power of the other party's attack was the same as his. And the power was stronger than his. Is your lightning worthy of turning into a thunder dragon? Lin Xian turned to look at the fourth elder again. He laughed out loud. Too weak. Let me show you what a real thunder dragon is. Lin Xian stabbed out with his sword like a dragon flying out of the sky. Instantly, the sword chi on the long sword turned into endless lightning. Then, it condensed into a thunder dragon, an immemorial thunder dragon. Its body was tens of thousands of feet tall, filling the entire void. The dragon head fell, and with a roar, the countless disciples of the array faction were reduced to ashes. The dragon claw reached out, and with the destructive power, it shattered the thunder array formation. The fourth elder's body was torn into pieces. Chapter 62-78. Lin Xian swung his sword a few more times, and the power of the great dragon sword soul burst out. Every time, it was as bright as the array formation. However, it surpassed the array formation. Next, the other array formations were also shattered. The few great emperors were dumbfounded. How was this possible? Every array formation was their ultimate technique, and they were completely different from others. They were their life's work, and they had cultivated it for tens of thousands of years. It was terrifying to the extreme. But now, the other party was just one person, and he was able to display the same power as them. Moreover, he easily shattered their array formations, causing them to collapse and despair. Some of the elders even died in this battle. The originally powerful array faction was destroyed after the defeat of the few great emperors. How could the other disciples of the array faction dare to attack? They ran away crazily. Help, Array Immortal, help! They could only ask for help from the sky. In the sky, the Array Immortal was still fighting with the great sky divination array. At this moment, she sensed the situation below, and her face was terrifyingly gloomy. Trash, a bunch of trash. Several great emperors with the array formation of the entire sect couldn't do anything to a young great emperor. How embarrassing! Why are these trash still alive? Boom! She threw a punch at Lin Xian. Lin Xian quickly dodged, but he was sent flying by the punch and vomited blood. That's great. The people of the Array faction cheered. Yu Xian also heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, no matter how strong the other party was, he couldn't compete with an Earth immortal like her. She would first deal with Zhou Tianshi, then divert her attention to deal with the other party. At that time, she would make the other party suffer a fate worse than death. Senior, I'm almost done acting. You can attack now. Lin Xian transmitted his voice. This time, Lin Xian took the initiative to get injured. He wanted to deceive Yu Xian and make her lower her guard against him. In Yu Xian's eyes, he was just an ant that posed no threat. However, this was part of the plan. Only by attacking unexpectedly could he really hurt Yu Xian. Hearing Lin Xian's voice transmission, Zhou Tianshi nodded. Although he could control the Great Sky Divination Array now, he seemed to be evenly matched with Yu Xian, but he knew that with his own strength, he couldn't do anything to Yu Xian. It would be difficult for him to hurt Yu Xian, let alone kill her. At most, he could restrain her. If he was in his peak state, forget it, don't think. Taking a deep breath, the Heavenly Circuit Master formed a seal with his palms. The Heavenly Circuit Divination formation changed rapidly and bound Yu Xian. Yu Xian was sealed in a space. She sneered. How much power do you think you can? You won't have any strength left after 2 or 3 more days, right? And I've always been at the peak. Yu Xian was extremely pleased with herself. Damn it, I. With the immortal slaying sword in hand, Lin Xian dashed towards Yu Xian with a look of exasperation. Was this guy crazy? Who does he think he? That's right, just a glance from our Earth immortal almost turned her into ashes. This time, he would die without a doubt. The disciples in the distance all sneered. A look of disdain appeared on Yu Xian's face. A little ant dared to fight with her. So what if he had a divine artifact? He was still vulnerable. This time, he didn't make a move. Instead, he waited for Lin Xian to get close to him before attacking. Immortal qi erupted from his body like a chain, directly enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian's body swayed, and many cracks appeared on his body. He seemed to be about to die at any time. Little ant, do you know the difference between us? Yu Xian sneered and turned around, ignoring Lin Xian and continuing to fight with Zhou Tianshi. Although Lin Xian's body was stained with blood, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. He had been tricked. The other party was indeed careless. In the next moment, he roared and attacked at lightning speed. He took out the purple gourd, and then, a wisp of true Samadhi fire floated out from it. He had 3 wisps of true Samadhi fire. He had absorbed some of the first wisp of true Samadhi fire, but he didn't use it. He used the second wisp of true Samadhi fire, which was at its peak and didn't waste any power. At this moment, as soon as it came out, it instantly turned into a flame and charged towards Yu Xian. This scene was too sudden, and no one was able to react in time. Even Yu Xian was startled. To be honest, why would she care about a little ant like Lin Xian? He didn't die because she didn't kill him. She wanted to torture him. Otherwise, he would have died 10,000 times. However, the sudden appearance of the flame made her tremble all over. Her hair stood on end. She suddenly turned her head, and her expression changed drastically. This is the immortal fire. How do you have this thing? She was so scared that she turned around and ran. At this moment, she couldn't care about anything else. However, Zhou Tianshi said, It's too late to leave now. The Great Sky Divination Array blocked Yu Xian's path. He had been waiting for this moment. You can't do this to me. Yu Xian was really panicking. If the immortal fire hit her, she would be seriously injured even if she didn't die. The next moment, she cried. Her beautiful face became delicate and pitiful. Yu Xian was already very beautiful, so beautiful that it could drive people crazy. Coupled with her pitiful state, she was even more terrifying. Perhaps any man in the world would have to live and die for her. Yu Xian said. Husband, I'm your wife. Do you have the heart to kill me? I was wrong. I beg you to forgive me, okay? Let's start over. When the disciples in the distance heard this, they went crazy. They wanted to die in Yusiana's place. Even Yu Wudao roared. He felt that his soul was about to split open. He frantically sealed his soul. Lin Xian was also worried. Zhou Tianshi, you have to hold on. This is a femme fatale. Stop pretending. I won't be fooled by you again. Zhou Tianshi's voice was incomparably cold and emotionless. He wouldn't be fooled. When Yusiana saw that her plan had failed, her tears instantly evaporated. Her expression became vicious. If that's the case, let's die together. Then, she roared at the sky. The person she hated the most was Lin Xian. That little thing dared to plot against her. She slapped Lin Xian with her palm. Lin Xian's body shattered and turned into a bloody mist. In the next moment, she used all her strength to resist the Samadhi true fire. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The three immortal chi on Yusiana's body blocked the Samadhi true fire. But in the next moment, the immortal chi shattered, and cracks appeared on Yusiana's body. Then, with a boom, she was sent flying. Her body was pierced through and charred black. She fell from the sky to the ground. As for the ground, it was smashed into countless abysses. Boom! The Samadhi true fire in the sky erupted with earth-shattering power. After sending Yusiana flying, it disappeared like a firework. At this moment, the entire array sect was reduced to ashes. The heavenly divination array was blasted away by the power of the flame. The light on it dimmed, and Lin Xian's figure disappeared. Yu Wudao was far away, but he was still beaten until he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. He looked in front of him, which had turned into a chaotic space. His body trembled. What a terrifying flame! It was too terrifying. This power seemed to be even more terrifying than an Earth Immortal. Yusiana's whereabouts were unknown. But where was Lin Xian? He looked up, but Lin Xian's figure was gone. Chapter 62-79. The Samadhi true fire was terrifying, and everything in its path was reduced to ashes. The spell formation master, once the overlord of the seventh heaven, was now gone. As for Lin Xian and Leaf Dao Denier, they were completely flabbergasted. At this moment, Lin Xian was nowhere to be found. Under such circumstances, Lin Xian was unable to resist at all. Could he be dead? She shook her head frantically at the thought. No, this can't be. Lin Xian can't be dead. He's created too many miracles. Back then, so many experts from the Prometha Heavenly King had failed to kill him. He must be alive now. Leaf Dao Denier prayed in his heart. But when he looked around, he couldn't see anyone. Leaf Dao Denier was so worried he was about to cry. At this moment, a weak voice came from behind him. Don't worry, I'm not dead yet. Leaf Dao Denier's soul trembled, and he spun around. A moment later he exclaimed, Great! You're not dead? That's great, that's really great. There was no mistaking it. The figure behind him was Lin Xian. Lin Xian was covered in blood, and his face was as pale as a sheet. But he was still alive, which made Leaf Dao Denier happy. Leaf Dao Denier was shocked. How did you get out? Why didn't I feel anything? Lin Xian said. It's a death substitution talisman. Senior Heavenly Master gave it to me. Yes, it was a death substitution talisman. Before making his move, Lin Xian had planned everything, including how to control the Grand Elder, how to save Leaf Dao Denier, and how to kill Yusiana. The most important thing was to make Yusiana careless, to make her ignore Lin Xian. That would give Lin Xian a chance to succeed. The process was incredibly dangerous. Even if Lin Xian succeeded, Yusiana could easily turn Lin Xian into ashes with a single slap. In order to deal with Yusiana's power, the Heavenly Master had created many spell formations. One of them was a death substitution formation. This was the most important step, and Lin Xian didn't want to die. With this formation, he could carry out his plan with peace of mind. As expected, when Yu Xian wanted to kill him, Lin Xian had already activated the array formation. Therefore, he dodged the attack. Senior, we've taken revenge. We've succeeded. Lin Xian looked at the sky and said with a smile. The Heavenly Cycle Master landed with the Heavenly Cycle Divination Array floating beside him. At this moment, he seemed to have fused with the entire formation. However, he didn't smile. Instead, there was a hint of sadness. So what if he succeeded? So what if he got his revenge? After all, this was the woman he once loved the most. He didn't feel the joy of revenge. In the end, he sighed. Sigh, damn it! How dare you put me in such a difficult position? All of you deserve to die. At this moment, an intermittent voice was heard. Yu Xian actually floated up from the rubble in front of them. His injuries were very serious. Half of his body was charred black, and there was a bloody hole in his body. His internal organs were gone, and there was not a single part of his body that was intact. However, he was still alive. It couldn't be helped. She was a land immortal. She was too powerful. Her life force was practically immortal. How could this be? He was actually still alive. Yu Wudao was shocked. He was stunned. How terrifying was that attack just now? But the other party actually didn't die. Lin Xian frowned tightly. He didn't die? To be honest, he wasn't surprised. When he obtained the three true fire, he knew that the three true fire was infinitely powerful. A single three true fire could severely injure a land immortal, but it wasn't certain whether it could kill a land immortal. Now, it seemed that it was very difficult for a single three true fire to kill a land immortal. But so what? In Yu Xian's current state, she was even worse than the Heavenly Cycle Master. How much strength could she exert? Senior, continue to attack and completely suppress her. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He endured the pain in his body and walked over. The great dragon sword soul appeared, and the Rinnegan erupted. Lin Xian wanted to continue fighting. The Heavenly Cycle Master nodded. I can't let you go out and harm others anymore. I'll suppress you. You should reflect on yourself. The Heavenly Cycle Master controlled the formation and rushed over. Suppress me? Dream on, what right do you have? Yu Xian roared. She even wanted to fight back. Although she was severely injured, she could still kill Lin Xian. To be honest, the person she hated the most now was Lin Xian. A little ant had caused her to be severely injured. Not only that, this little ant actually didn't die and was still alive and kicking. Unforgivable. The immortal energy on her body quickly condensed. She was really miserable. Her immortal energy had already been shattered into pieces. However, its power still surpassed everything. You want to attack me? Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, he took out the purple gourd again. The immortal energy emerged from it. How could this be? Yu Xian was terrified. The other party still had that immortal flame. She turned around and fled at an extremely fast speed. Lin Xian refused to give up. In the end, Yu Xian gritted her teeth and waved her hand. 8 rays of light flew out from her body and flew in all directions. These were 8 longevity fruits. She wanted to use these fruits to lure the other party away. Sure enough. When Lin Xian saw the longevity fruits, he was stunned and stopped for a moment. At this moment, the immortal energy on Yu Xian's body completely burned. In the next moment, it tore open the void and disappeared completely. Damn it, I let her run away. Don't chase. Zhou Tianshi stopped. Lin Xian was stunned. Senior, why? Zhou Tianshi said that you are only a great emperor and can't sense it. Just now, I sensed the power of other land immortals on Xian's body. Don't chase a cornered enemy. Standing behind her is another land immortal. If we go over in our state, we will be courting death. There is also a land immortal. Lin Xian was stunned when he heard that. No way? If there is a land immortal behind Yu Xian, why didn't the other party make a move in the battle just now? Zhou Tianshi frowned. After thinking for a long time, he said, "Perhaps it's not a land immortal of the 7th level. I didn't expect her to have such ability. No wonder she was able to plot against me back then." Zhou Tianshi now understood one point. To be honest, Yu Xian'er was only a super great emperor at that time and couldn't hurt him at all. However, the other party did it, and even caused him to suffer a fate worse than death. All these years, he had been very curious about how the other party did it. Now it seemed that it had something to do with the land immortal behind the other party. Who are the other land immortals of the other levels? Lin Xian came from the 1st level, so he thought of many people. Dream God? That's unlikely. However, it's possible that it's the giant elephant. That guy is very arrogant. It's also possible that the purple immortal is even more sinister. Of course, all of this was speculation. Zhou Tianshi remained silent. He looked up at the sky. No one knew what he was thinking. Lin Xian also looked up at the sky. Then, he was stunned. Could it be a land immortal of the 8th or even 9th level? He sucked in a cold breath. Things had become so complicated. He felt a sense of pressure. Yu Xian'er didn't die and was related to other land immortals. He had to be even more careful. However, he had to obtain the 8 longevity fruits first. Lin Xian waved his hand. The sword Qi turned into a giant dragon and flew into the distance to search for the longevity fruits. Chapter 6280. The Array faction had been reduced to ashes. This news immediately spread throughout the 7th heaven. Everyone was dumbfounded. In their eyes, the Array faction was a supreme overlord. It was the place they yearned for. With an Earth immortal there, it was impossible for it to be destroyed. But now, the Array faction was gone. There was only a ruin. Even though they were separated by an endless distance, they were still able to sense that destructive power. Everyone trembled in fear. Who was it? Who destroyed the Array faction? Where was the Array immortal? Could it be that he had also died? Heavens, even the Array immortal was defeated. This person's strength was above that of an Earth immortal. Everyone was terrified and desperate. In the Array formation competition, the people of the Ice family were all trembling in fear. The Ice family leader was also kneeling on the ground. Previously, he had been severely injured by the 2 super great emperors. He was not far from death. However, he could still escape if he wanted to. He did not escape. Instead, he waited for another battle. As long as the Array faction won, the East Lord Mansion would definitely die. However, the result was completely different from what he had imagined. Not only did the Array faction not win, but they were also reduced to ashes. How could this be? Who was behind the East County Mansion? Even the people of the East County Mansion could not believe it. They were absolutely determined to die. After all, offending the Array faction would result in a miserable outcome. However, the current situation was like a dream. Even the Mansion Lord was trembling with excitement. He did it. Lin Gongzi really did it. This time, he had made the right bet. He laughed loudly. Destroy the Ice family. The first elder also roared. He was now Zhou Tianxi's servant. At this moment, he was definitely going crazy. Under the joint efforts of the 2 of them, the Ice family leader was forced to retreat. The Ice family leader was already scared out of his wits. He did not dare to fight anymore. He turned around and fled. However, he was too seriously injured. In the end, he was killed by the 2 of them. With the death of the family leader, the Ice family was immediately defeated. A top formation family was destroyed just like that. The leader of the East County was excited. After destroying the Ice family, they would be twice as strong as they were now. Just thinking about it made them excited. Of course, they didn't dare to act rashly. The East County Mansion chief said, "Everyone, listen up. Without my permission, no one is allowed to touch any of the treasures of the Ice family." He wanted to leave it for Lin Xian. He could only take it if Lin Xian gave it to him. Lin Xian didn't give it to him, so he didn't even dare to look at it. After all, Lin Xian had just destroyed the Array sect. If he wanted to destroy the East County Mansion, it would be a piece of cake. The Array sect was now in ruins. Lin Xian stood there, his face pale. Looking at the surrounding nothingness, he sighed. What a pity, this is a sect established by a land immortal. How many treasures were there? That number was definitely beyond imagination. But now, everything was gone. That was because the three true flames were too domineering. One strike was enough to destroy everything. However, he did not regret it. This time, he was able to defeat Yu Xian'er because of the three true flames. Let's go. Lin Xian had already obtained the remaining 8 longevity fruits. It was time to leave. He looked at Zhou Tianshi and said, Senior, I have taken my revenge. Yu Xian'er is no longer a threat. Next, you can start a new sect. No, I'm tired of it. Zhou Tianshi shook his head. However, he still looked at Lin Xian and said, Don't be in a hurry to leave. Wait here for a few more days. This time, not only did you hurt Yu Xian'er, but I'm afraid that the land immortal behind her won't let you go. I'll make a few more arrays for you so that you can protect your life on the road. Thank you, Senior. Lin Xian was delighted. The arrays given to him by a land immortal were definitely terrifying. Then, Lin Xian and Yi Wudao left. They went to the battlefield of the array competition. The people of the East County Mansion were still waiting. Greetings, Lin Gongzi. When the East County Mansion chief saw Lin Xian, he quickly led his people to bow. Lin Xian waved his hand and said, What about the Ice family? The East County Mansion chief said, The patriarch of the Ice family has been killed, and the others have been suppressed. As for the resources and treasures of the Ice family, we didn't dare to touch them. We waited for Lin Gongzi to decide. Lin Xian nodded, and the corners of his mouth curled up. This East County chief was very sensible. He said, We will take some cultivation resources. As for the rest, we won't take them. Also, the East County Mansion can swallow the Ice family. Thank you, Lin Gongzi. The East County Mansion chief was excited. Then, he split his men into 2 groups. One of them was for Lan Yingying to bring her men back to the clan. Lan Yingying returned with Lan Yingying and took out all the cultivation resources and top-grade treasures in the family and gave them to Lin Xian. After that, he personally took Lin Xian to the Frigid Ice clan to collect their treasures. The harvest this time was really bountiful. Yi Wudao was dumbfounded because the number of treasures this time was beyond their expectations. It was piled up like a mountain. After Lin Xian saw it, he couldn't help but think, if the Array sect hadn't been destroyed, how many treasures would there be? The number of treasures would probably be 10 times more than this. Forget it. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. After splitting the resources and medicinal pills with Leaf Doudenier, Lin Xian left. The East County Mansion chief originally thought that Lin Xian would go back to the family with him. However, he didn't. Lin Xian didn't go back to the East County Mansion. Instead, he went to the ruins of the Array sect. Not only him, but Zhou Tianshi also didn't go back. The Great Sky Divination Array had completely left the East County Mansion. In the future, he would never go back. The people of the East County Mansion sighed. However, they didn't dare to say anything. Because they knew that there was a kind of earth immortal in the array that they couldn't provoke. Moreover, although they didn't have the Great Sky Divination Array, they could still swallow the Ice family. It was a huge harvest. In the following time, Lin Xian and Yi Wudao began to cultivate. Lin Xian continued to enter the Great Sky Divination Array and activated the Samadhi True Fire to temper his golden right hand. Previously, he had already tempered 20 bones. This time, he completely tempered his entire right hand. The golden right hand that formed him became even more terrifying than before. Yi Wudao also obtained a huge amount of resources. These were the resources that the Ice family and the East County Mansion had gathered for tens of thousands of years. Therefore, he immediately began to cultivate the heaven and earth order. A mysterious immortal king phantom surrounded his body, as if it had traveled through time and space. Just as the two of them were cultivating, in a desolate and dilapidated land of the seventh heaven, there was a beautiful figure hiding there. It was Yusienner. Yusienner's injuries were really too serious. She was even thinking, between her injuries and the heavenly cycle master's injuries, which one was more serious. She didn't know. However, she finally tasted Zhou Tianzhi's pain. It was worse than death. Damn it, little ant, I won't let you off. There was only one figure in Yusienner's eyes, and that was Lin Xian. It was all because of this kid that she was so seriously injured. She wanted revenge. She had to take revenge. Thinking of this, she took out an item. It was a purple bead. Then, she crushed it. Chapter 62-81. The purple bead was extremely mysterious, and emitted a trace of coldness. She wondered what it was made of. After it was crushed, the light scattered in all directions. Then, it formed a purple vortex. This vortex seemed to connect heaven and earth. At the same time, a very unexpected voice came from the vortex. Why did you contact me at this time? Didn't you say not to contact me if there was no special reason? Don't you know that crossing heaven and earth is a very dangerous thing? A voice came from inside. It was a cold voice. It was a woman's voice, but it was like a knife, making one's bones tremble. I lost. I'm seriously injured. Zhou Tianzhi didn't die. Yusienner said 2 sentences. A cry of surprise came from behind the vortex. That's impossible. Then, there was a long silence. What was going on? Yusienner quickly recounted everything that she knew. After hearing this, the figure behind the vortex was even more shocked. You're saying that a young great emperor defeated you? Yusienner, you're really useless. I spent so much effort to cultivate you, but I didn't expect you to be so useless. I'm so angry. I want to slap you to death now. Feeling the killing intent from the vortex, Yusienner was terrified. She said, You can't do this to me. There's a reason why I lost. He has the immortal fire. How can I resist it? Moreover, that kid is cunning and despicable. Previously, he had pretended to be pitifully weak, and only then did he launch an unexpected attack. It's useless for you to explain. Do you know that the thing I asked you to do will happen soon? This is very important to me. It can even completely change your fate. But you idiot, you're seriously injured now. Even if I cross heaven and earth to save you, you won't be able to recover in a short time. The voice in the vortex was exasperated. Yusienner asked, What is it? She was indeed very confused. That's right. Back then, she plotted against Zhou Tianzhi with the help of other Earth Immortals. This Earth Immortal was very powerful. He wasn't at the 7th level of heaven. But it didn't matter. The other party offered very generous conditions. As long as Yusienner cooperated to kill Zhou Tianzhi, the other party would help Yusienner become an Earth Immortal who once controlled the 7th heaven and became the new guardian. Of course, what Yusienner had to do was to do something for him at the crucial moment. But what exactly was it? The other party didn't say anything, only telling Yusienner to wait. Therefore, this wait lasted for tens of thousands of years. Yusienner had almost forgotten. Who would have thought that the other party would bring it up again? Furthermore, this would happen very soon. What was going on? Was it related to the 7th layer of heaven? It had nothing to do with the 7th layer of heaven. It was a matter of the 8th layer of heaven. The voice behind the vortex sounded again. She seemed to be suppressing her anger. Gritting his teeth, he asked, Other than you, do you have any disciples? Super great emperors, preferably younger and more powerful. It used to be there, but it's gone now. Yusienner sighed. She was extremely vexed. Because the entire array sect had been annihilated. All of her savings and painstaking efforts had been annihilated. Idiot, idiot! The woman in the vortex roared again. Traces of terrifying power even appeared, causing the surrounding sky and earth to shatter. Yusienner's face turned even paler. She was now panicking. Would the other party kill her out of anger? However, The other party still didn't appear, which made her secretly relieved. After a while, the voice in the vortex sounded again. "Give me the information of the intruder you mentioned." Yu Xian hurriedly gave Lin Xian's information to the other party, including the unique skills, power, and appearance that he was good at. All of it was transmitted to the purple vortex. Then, the purple vortex disappeared. Yu Xian was dumbfounded. Was it over just like that? She had summoned him because she wanted him to help her recover and avenge her. However, the other party didn't do anything. She was like a little kitten that had been abandoned by someone. At this moment, Yu Xian became extremely lonely and weak. She was afraid that Lin Xian would come after her, but she was even more afraid that Zhou Tianshi would come. In that case, if she was caught, she would suffer a fate worse than death. She didn't summon the purple vortex again. Instead, she fled to an even more desolate place. She tore open the ground, entered the ground, and began to recover silently. However, with her current state, she wouldn't be able to recover without tens of thousands of years. As for revenge, she was in despair. Lin Xian was an intruder. It was impossible for him to stay here for tens of thousands of years. By the time she recovered and went out, the other party would either be dead or had left. She couldn't even take revenge. This time, she was really miserable. However, she still had a glimmer of hope. That was, the mysterious woman in the purple vortex would make a move. Until now, Yu Xian still didn't know who the Earth Immortal behind her was. Which level of heaven was it? She only knew that the other party was very powerful. Even if she was at her peak, she shouldn't be a match for the other party. This woman had taken away Lin Xian's information, so she should be attacking Lin Xian. This brat would die here sooner or later. Thinking of this, she felt a little happy. However, what followed next was pain and misery. After Yu Xian checked her injuries, she found that they were more serious than she had imagined. The immortal fire seemed to have destroyed all the meridians in her body. Damn it! She gritted her teeth, blushed, and began to recover. The 9th level of heaven. This was the last level of heaven, and also the most mysterious level of heaven. It was extremely terrifying. Because there were many terrifying existences here. In a purple mountain, there was a figure in purple clothes. It was a woman. At this moment, the purple vortex in front of her slowly disappeared, and a message appeared in her mind. Then, she waved her hand, and the endless purple aura condensed into a figure. This figure was young and handsome. His eyes were piercingly cold, and he was in high spirits. If Lin Xian was here and saw this, he would definitely exclaim. The reason for that was because that figure was his figure. The purple-clothed woman was the mysterious land immortal standing behind Yu Xian. At this moment, she was still mysterious. Her whole body was surrounded by purple light, and it was impossible to see her face clearly. The mysterious woman in purple looked at the portrait in the sky and snorted coldly. The next moment, she waved her hand and split the figure in half. "And you actually ruined my plan of many years. Unforgivable. Someone, bring a team of shadow guards to the 7th level of heaven and kill this person." The mysterious woman's voice sounded in the purple mountain. "Yes." A respectful voice came from outside the purple mountain. Then, a figure in purple armor quickly left. He was going to bring a team of shadow guards to the 7th level of heaven. Crossing the heavens and earth was a very dangerous thing. However, at this moment, the master had given the order, and she had to obey. Moreover, with the master's means, they could definitely cross the heavens and earth. The woman in purple had a cold expression. This time, the shadow guards would not be able to come back. She could send them over, but these people would not be able to return to the 9th level of heaven. However, she didn't care. These were all her servants, and she didn't care about their lives at all. This was only the first thing. Killing a little and to relieve the hatred in her heart. Next, there were more important things. That was what she had been planning for a long time. Chapter 6282. This matter was very important. The mysterious woman had planned for a long time, but she was still not confident. Originally, she had trained Yusien'er to make this matter more assured. But Yusien'er, that idiot, had ruined everything. Without Yusien'er's support, this matter would not be easy to handle. However, she was still prepared. First, she chose 3 supreme great emperors to be on standby and go to the 8th heaven to do things for her. Then, she condensed and formed a purple vortex again, breaking the heaven and earth. Obviously, she was transmitting her voice to the people of the other heavens. This time, it was not Yusien'er of the 7th heaven, but the 6th heaven. The 6th heaven was where Purple Immortal was. He guarded the heaven and earth. At this moment, he was yawning in boredom. He could sense that there were other intruders who had entered the 6th heaven. And they were very powerful. However, he was not interested. He had no longevity fruits in his hands. He was too lazy to care about these people. He wondered how the first batch of intruders were doing. After being plotted against by him, would they die? He thought of Lin Xian and the others. Even if they did not die, they would probably end up in a miserable state. At this moment, a purple vortex suddenly appeared in front of him. Immortal Finger was stunned. Then, his expression became serious. "Sister, why are you looking for me?" He was very surprised. His sister was from the 9th heaven. Crossing several heavens to find him, she should have paid a high price. Unless it was an extremely important matter, it would never happen. If others knew, they would be even more shocked. Purple Immortal was actually this mysterious woman's brother. It was unbelievable. The voice of the woman in purple came from the vortex. She said, "Brother, are you ready? That matter was about to begin very soon. My plan in the 7th heaven has failed. So I can only rely on you." Failed? How could it be? Purple Immortal exclaimed. He knew his sister's methods. Moreover, he also knew about the 7th heaven. Killing the original Zhou Tianshi and supporting a new Earth Immortal was something they had been planning for a long time. Could it be that Zhou Tianshi was not dead? The purple-clothed woman's voice sounded. "Zhou Tianshi is indeed not dead, but this is not fatal. The fatal thing was that Yusien'er was actually defeated by an intruder. A young great emperor actually defeated an Earth Immortal. I'm so angry." Intruder? Young great emperor? Purple Immortal was stunned. In the next moment, a person appeared in his mind, Lin Xian. For some unknown reason? He thought of Lin Xian. He said, "Sister, that young great emperor, could it be that he has the immortal flame? It seems like you also know about it." The mysterious woman snorted. "Why didn't you tell me about this? If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have let Yusien'er fail." Purple Immortal also frowned. He said, "I did meet an intruder before. He had the immortal flame. He even threatened me. However, that flame couldn't kill me. Furthermore, he didn't dare to use it carelessly. After using it, he wouldn't be able to defend himself against any danger in the future. Therefore, in my opinion, he should only be intimidating the land immortals. However, I did not expect this kid to use this kind of flame at the 7th heaven. It's too late to say anything now. Yusian has already failed. She won't be able to recover for tens of thousands of years. What happens next will happen within 3 months. Therefore, we don't have time. As for that kid, I've already sent a secret guard to kill him. What we're discussing now is the 8th heaven. Will the dream god go? Not necessarily. Therefore, he's not much of a threat to us. The other few heavens are the 3 demonic beast brothers. They're the biggest threat. We have to find a way to resolve them. It's not easy. However, I'll try." The two didn't talk for long before the purple vortex disappeared. Because this was a conversation that crossed several heavens. If it was other Earth Immortals, they might not be able to do it. After the vortex disappeared, Purple Immortal took a deep breath. His expression was solemn. This kid really deserves to die. He actually ruined his sister's plan. However, he should be dead for sure. The secret guard should be able to kill him. Even if they can't kill him, that kid should go to the 8th heaven. At that time, I'll personally kill him. That's right. Purple Immortal knew that Lin Xian would also go to the 8th heaven. And this time, their goal was also the 8th heaven. Lin Xian didn't know about these Earth Immortals. At this moment, he was still silently cultivating. He had already begun to prepare to temper his left hand. However, the progress was very slow. After all, the last time he tempered his right hand, he succeeded very quickly. This was because he had triggered the power of time in the Great Sky Divination formation. The probability of triggering this power was very small. So far, he hadn't succeeded. And Heavenly Cycle Master had already made 4 formations for him. He was making the 5th one. After another half a month, the 5th formation was completed. Heavenly Cycle Master didn't take any action. He gave the 5 formations to Lin Xian. Next, you'll encounter a lot of danger. Use these 5 formations sparingly. I originally wanted to make a few more, but there's no more time. These 5 formations didn't have any offensive formations. They were all used for defense and escape. After Lin Xian received them, he looked at them. Indeed, there were 2 defensive formations and 3 escape formations. However, it really suited him. After all, he didn't have much 3 true fire left. There were still 2 levels left. What other dangers were there? Thank you, Senior. Lin Xian carefully put away the formation. Then he asked, Senior, you said that there's not much time left. What's going on? Could it be that you haven't recovered yet? Can I help you? Heavenly Cycle Master shook his head. Don't worry, I won't die. When I said there's not much time left, I was referring to you. You're going to leave the 7th heaven in a few days. I can feel it. Lin Xian was surprised. He could feel it. However, the other party was a Heavenly Cycle Master. Perhaps he could really feel the different power of heaven and earth. Lin Xian took a deep breath and looked at Yu Wudao again. Yu Wudao said, I'm afraid I won't be able to help you next. Because I'm already struggling in the 7th heaven, I don't plan to move forward. I can't be a burden to you. And this time, I've obtained so many resources and treasures. I want to cultivate here. Okay. Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, if he hadn't come this time, Yu Wudao would have been in danger. He just didn't know how the Red Fish Emperor was doing. It seemed that he had to ask Heavenly Cycle Master for help to investigate. After all, he was in charge of the 7th heaven now. Zhou Tianshi probed for a moment and said, I can sense this friend of yours. He's not dead. Moreover, he's trying to crack the formation and enter the 8th heaven. However, there's not much hope. From the 7th heaven to the 8th heaven, one had to pass through a formation. It was a very terrifying formation of heaven and earth. Even a super great emperor might not be able to pass through it. Chapter 6283. Hearing that the Red Fish Emperor was not in danger, Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Next, he learned more about this array formation. If he wanted to enter the 8th heaven, he would also use this array formation. The Heavenly Cycle Master could not help him with this array formation because he could only enter the 8th heaven with his own strength. Next, Lin Xian prepared to leave. However, he also made some arrangements for this battlefield. He planned to shift the blame of this battle to the giant elephant. Previously, the giant elephant had murderous intent towards him, which made Lin Xian very unhappy. And now, he had an extreme weapon, which was the giant elephant's. He made some arrangements so that this extreme weapon would be broken in the ruins of the Array faction. Even if the other party did not believe it, they should have some suspicions. Lin Xian began to set up traps again. In fact, he also wanted to shift the blame to Purple Fairy. After all, she had tricked him once during the teleportation process. However, he did not have Purple Fairy's weapon, so he could only give up this time. Just as Lin Xian was setting up the traps, a crack flashed in the 7th heaven. Then, a few figures appeared in the 7th heaven. As soon as they appeared, there was a terrifying force that wanted to swallow them up. However, soon after, a purple vortex appeared beside them and blocked all of this. Great, we have successfully arrived at the seventh heaven. The leader waved his hand, and the figures quickly left. There were a total of 5 people. These 5 people were wearing black armor. They were secret guards. They were sent by the mysterious woman in purple in the 9th heaven. They only had one goal, and that was to kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian did not know about the appearance of these people, but the heavenly cycle master was aware. He could clearly sense the changes in the 7th heaven. He said, "Someone is coming, and they have a strong murderous intent. It should be the expert behind Yu Xian or who had made his move." As soon as this was said, Lin Xian also took a deep breath. "Will the land immortals come?" He did not have much samadhi true fire left. Was there going to be another great battle? The heavenly cycle master said, "No, there is no land immortal power. Moreover, land immortals could not casually cross heaven and earth. Even if they really wanted to come, they would have to pay a price." Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that it was not an earth immortal. In this way, he was not that afraid. He began to conserve his energy, and adjust his condition to its peak. At the same time, he took out the immortal slaying sword and held it in his hand, ready to fight at any time. The dark guards in the void flew quickly in search of Lin Xian. Soon, they arrived at the Array sect, which was already in ruins. The eyes of the 5 shadow guards flashed as they stared at Lin Xian. "It's him. Kill him." The 5 of them were hidden in the void. In an instant, an earth-shattering killing intent erupted. Heaven and earth were once again torn apart, and the 5 of them instantly arrived around Lin Xian. How terrifying! Leaf Daodenier opened his eyes and cried out in alarm. Lin Xian also snorted coldly. "You're here?" He gripped the immortal slaying sword tightly. The aura here erupted, engulfing everything. Even the people from the East County mansion in the distance could feel it. The Academy Master raised his head and looked into the distance. What happened in the ruins of the Array faction? What a terrifying killing intent! There was a peerless killer! Lan Yingying was worried. Are Lin Gongzi and the others okay? Boom! Suddenly, at this moment, the world changed. All the powerhouses in the East County mansion knelt on the ground in fear. Even the Academy Master's body trembled. He felt an even more terrifying force erupting, as if it was going to destroy everything. The entire place where the Array faction was located was completely enveloped by this light. That's right, the place where the Array faction was located instantly turned pitch black, as if black clouds were pressing down on the city. Lin Xian, Leaf Daodenier, and the others were all facing a great enemy. This power was completely beyond their expectations. Even Lin Xian was a little confused. Didn't they say that there was no power of an earth immortal? Why was this power so terrifying? With a boom, their sword energy surged into the sky. Zhou Tianshi stood motionless in the Array formation. His figure appeared, and his gaze was extremely deep. Ah! In the void, the 5 figures in black armor were not counted. They were the 5 shadow guards. At this moment, their bodies were stained with blood, and their faces were filled with horror as they looked up at the sky. Was this the attack of an earth immortal? Who are you? Are you the Zhou Tianshi from back then? One of the shadow guards roared. As soon as these words came out, Lin Xian was even more stunned. What was going on? These people didn't know the Hand of the Heavens. What was this Hand of the Heavens? There was no response. The big hand in the sky fell directly and enveloped the 5 shadow guards. Counterattack! The 5 shadow guards roared. They used their terrifying killing moves while fleeing into the distance. However, it was useless. With a light slap of the palm, the 5 shadow guards were reduced to ashes. Among them, there were 2 super great emperors. However, they died instantly. What kind of power was this? It was unimaginable. Lin Xian was facing a great enemy. In an instant he took out the purple gourd. The aura of the 3 true fire spread out. Zhou Tianshi said, "Don't act rashly. He's not an enemy." What? Lin Xian was stunned. Not an enemy? He looked forward carefully, and then he was even more shocked. He was so nervous just now that he didn't investigate carefully. Now, when he looked at it with his Rinnegan, he took a breath of cold air. The mysterious aura of this big hand of the heavens was somewhat similar to that of the three true fire. They were both immortal powers. Could this thing have something to do with the immortal city? Lin Xian was very curious. At the same time, the tension in his heart disappeared. At this time, a low voice came from the big hand of the heavens. Intruder, congratulations. You've managed to collect more than 35 longevity fruits at the 7th layer of heaven. You have successfully summoned me. Lin Xian had 28 fruits before, plus 11 fruits in the 7th heaven. Now he had 39. This number was completely beyond imagination. To be honest, even Lin Xian didn't think about it before. Lin Xian felt that it was already very heaven-defying to get half of the fruits in the divine realm. But now, except for the first fruit in the first heaven, he didn't get any. The remaining few heavens were all with him. And Higgins' number was 0. Higgin would probably go crazy. That's right, the remaining people of Higgin were indeed crazy. They had never encountered such a situation. Lin Xian was pleasantly surprised. This immortal hand was actually summoned. He clasped his fist and said, "Senior, what advice do you have?" The other party came out. There must be some benefits. Maybe there was a special mission. To be able to get the next longevity fruit. Or even to get the information of the immortal token. Thinking of this, Lin Xian was extremely excited. Intruder, now you have two choices. First, I can directly break the heaven and earth and send you to the 9th heaven. There are the last 9 longevity fruits there. Hearing this, Lin Xian was stunned. Now, the entire immortal city only had 9 longevity fruits left. But he didn't expect that they were all in the 9th heaven. It seemed that there was nothing in the 8th heaven. Under normal circumstances, he would go to the 8th heaven first, and then he could enter the 9th heaven. This way, he would waste a lot of time, and more importantly, there would be countless dangers. But now, there was a chance for him to directly enter the 9th heaven. It was really great. Chapter 62-84. The immortal hand's words made Lin Xian happy. This way, he could save a lot of time. He could use this time to continue to cultivate his body. However, the heavenly cycle master next to him said, "Don't worry, listen patiently." Lin Xian was stunned. The heavenly cycle master's words had a hidden meaning. Although he didn't say it explicitly, he wanted him to wait patiently. Lin Xian calmed down. At this time, the immortal hand in front of him said, "The second choice, I can take you to the 8th layer of heaven. This way, you don't have to go through the heaven and earth array of the 7th layer of heaven." Lin Xian was stunned. Yu Wudao also frowned. Entering the 8th layer of heaven was just passing through an array? If that was the case, everyone would choose the first choice. However, Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. He asked, "Senior, there is no longevity fruit in the 8th layer of heaven. Logically speaking, intruders shouldn't go in. But why do you still want to take me there? Is there anything else in the 8th layer of heaven?" "Intruder, you are very smart," the immortal hand said. "There is indeed no longevity fruit in the 8th layer of heaven, not even one. However, it has something else. It has a clue to the immortal token. If you want to find the immortal token, you can only find clues in the 8th layer of heaven. Otherwise, even if you break through the 9th layer of heaven, you won't find any clues." After Lin Xian heard this, he gasped. No wonder he had to go to the 8th layer of heaven. The heavenly cycle master was reminding him. Fortunately, he didn't get excited and immediately choose. Instead, he listened patiently. Otherwise, he would have missed the immortal token. Lin Xian continued to ask, "Senior, is the immortal token in the 8th layer of heaven?" However, the immortal hand said, "If you want to get the immortal token, you have to find clues first. Otherwise, no one can tell you where the immortal token is." As for whether you want to find the immortal token, it's up to you. Now tell me your decision. Lin Xian wanted to say something, but he still looked at the Heavenly Cycle Master. Perhaps he could give him some advice. The Heavenly Cycle Master said, "If you really want to find the immortal token, this is a chance." Moreover, it was their only chance. However, I have to remind you that the eighth heaven is equally dangerous. Moreover, due to some recent events, that place had become even more dangerous and unpredictable. The difficulty of finding the undying token is 10 times harder than before. Or even 100 times. Why? Lin Xian was stunned. What was going to happen next? Zhou Tianshi glanced at the immortal hand and said in a low voice, "Next, some people are going to break through to the immortal realm." What did it mean to break through to the immortal realm? Lin Xian was even more shocked. Immortal? What is that? Was the power of immortality a power that surpassed that of land immortals? Lin Xian had many questions. However, the Heavenly Cycle Master did not explain at all. He said, "If you really decide to go to the 8th level of heaven, then I will tell you. I can even help you. I will go to the 8th heavenly layer. Even if there is a slight possibility, I will not give up." Although Lin Xian had obtained 39 longevity fruits, Lin Xian didn't have any. He might even get the remaining 9 and leave with most of the people from the Nirvana realm. But now, Lin Xian changed his mind. The immortal token might be more important. Not only could he take people away, but he could also take others away. For example, he couldn't take the Heavenly Cycle Master away. If he had the immortal token, he could take the Heavenly Cycle Master away. Lin Xian really wanted to take the Heavenly Cycle Master away. The Heavenly Cycle Master's array was very helpful to the Divine Realm. The immortal fire and the immortal hand were extremely mysterious. Lin Xian wanted to explore the secrets of immortality. Therefore, he wanted to find the immortal token. Hearing Lin Xian's answer, the Heavenly Cycle Master said, "Well, you can take this thing." The Heavenly Cycle Master handed over a flag. It was a green flag that was only the size of a palm. There was a mysterious rune engraved on it with a number 7. "You will represent me and the 7th level of heaven to participate in the immortal realm." Boom! 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 Lin Xian didn't say anything when the Heavenly Cycle Master said this. A terrifying aura suddenly erupted from the Heavenly Cycle Master's hand, as if it was going to destroy the world. The destructive power coming from it made people feel as if they were facing a great enemy. The Heavenly Cycle Master's expression was calm. He said, "Don't worry, I won't go against the immortal realm. In fact, I will stand on your side. You should know that I was harmed. However, because of your position, you can help me. I also understand this point very well. And I guess that the person who harmed me should be an earth immortal from the other levels of heaven. They want someone else to become the guardian of the 7th level of heaven. Then, they will unite the power of the 7th level of heaven and attack the immortal realm together. It's good that you understand." The immortal hand said. The Heavenly Cycle Master nodded. In fact, he had guessed more or less. The mastermind did have this idea. Because when the Heavenly Cycle Master was still at his peak, someone did come to him to talk about this matter. However, the Heavenly Cycle Master refused. At that time, he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay in the 7th level of heaven with Yu Xian and live forever. However, things changed later. So now, the Heavenly Cycle Master's decision had also changed. The Heavenly Cycle Master pointed at Lin Xian and said, "He is the intruder. It's better to let him attack the immortal realm and obtain the immortal token than to let the other earth immortals get it." The immortal hand was silent, but it was obviously a tacit agreement. Lin Xian asked, "Senior, what's going on?" The Heavenly Cycle Master said, "What will happen next in the 8th level of heaven is to attack the immortal realm." It was a gathering held by the earth immortals of the other levels of heaven in order to leave the immortal city. They would join forces to search for clues about the immortal token. Because if they obtained the immortal token, they would be able to leave Bushio City. Although the Earth Immortals were the guardians here, they could sweep through heaven and earth. However, every Earth Immortal had their own reasons to guard this place. Some were forced to stay here, while others were threatened and suppressed here. Hearing this, Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. Yi Wudo was also stunned. Who was the one who threatened and suppressed the Earth Immortals? How much power did he have to possess? Could it be the master of the Immortal City? How terrifying was the other party? He didn't dare to imagine. There were many secrets in the Immortal City. However, it's not the time for you to explore. Your strength isn't enough. Even the Earth Immortals might not be able to explore the secrets here. However, you can participate in the matter of the 8th level. Lin Xian said. You mean, the Earth Immortals of the other levels of heaven will gather in the 8th level of heaven? His little face was a little dark. He said, I have some grudges with several Earth Immortals. Previously, I could threaten one or two of them. However, if they all appeared together, he couldn't threaten them at all. Would he be slapped to death? This was what he was most worried about. Chapter 6285. Facing an Earth Immortal, Lin Xian still dared to challenge him because he had the 3 true fire in his hands and could threaten him. But facing a group of Earth Immortals, Lin Xian had no choice. Even his own life was in danger. Zhou Tianshi shook his head. You don't represent yourself now. You still represent the will of the 7th heaven, so they won't kill you. Of course, they might join forces to suppress you and ostracize you. As for killing you, there was only one possibility, which was after they obtained the Immortal Token. At that time, they would completely fall out, and no longer care about the rules of the Immortal City. Understood. Lin Xian nodded. Although it was still very dangerous, he had already decided to go. Lin Xian looked at the Immortal Hand and said, Senior, I choose to go to the 8th heaven. Okay. The Immortal Hand descended and enveloped Lin Xian. Then, it flew directly into the sky. With a boom, the 7th heaven shattered and the 8th heaven opened. Lin Xian's figure disappeared. Yi Wudao looked into the distance and said, Lin Xian, you have to come back alive. The heaven and earth phenomenon here made the people of the 7th heaven kneel and kowtow. The people of the East County were also shocked. Did Lin Xian leave? Was he taken away by a mysterious hand? It was really heaven-defying. Only the people of the 7th heaven knew about this situation. The others didn't know. The intruders of the other heavens were really like ice and fire. To be honest, many people had the heart to die, especially the people of the Nirvana realm. They had all gone crazy. Because during this period of time, they kept hearing loud and clear voices resounding between heaven and earth. Someone had obtained the 10th longevity fruit. Someone had obtained the 20th longevity fruit. Someone had obtained the 30th longevity fruit. One after another, the voices made everyone go crazy. Now, the 39th longevity fruit had been obtained by others. But most of the people of the Nirvana realm didn't even see a shadow of the longevity fruit. Nine-tailed Fox felt that he had gone crazy. He doubted life. When he was outside, he was a top genius, the disciple of a Earth Immortal, high and mighty. He could turn a world into ashes with a wave of his hand. But here, he felt that his life was incomparably sullen. He was even a little frightened. There were still 9 longevity fruits left. Could he get them? If he couldn't get it, would he die here? When he thought of this possibility, his body began to tremble, and his face turned even paler. However, there was still hope in his heart. Perhaps many of the fruits were obtained by people from the Nirvana realm. Although his speed was also very fast, there were still people walking in front of him. Among them were Great Emperor Xing Yao and Great Emperor Tsung Qing. The two of them were very fast and had already reached the other few levels of heaven. The strength of these two people was not weaker than the nine-tailed fox. Therefore, Nine-tailed Fox felt that many of the longevity fruits had been obtained by these two people, but he had not found them yet. Boom! Finally, the nine-tailed fox arrived at the 5th heaven. He was not searching. He guessed that the longevity fruit of the fifth heaven should have disappeared as well. Hence, he continued his journey towards the sixth heaven. The other intruders also arrived one after another. Some of them had even begun to arrive at the sixth layer of heaven. Unfortunately, the longevity fruit of the sixth layer of heaven was also gone. Even the seventh layer of heaven was gone. These people from the Nirvana realm were destined to be miserable. On the other hand, in the mysterious cave abode of the second layer of heaven, Murong Qingqing opened her eyes. The phoenix aura on her body was even more terrifying, as if she had turned into an ancient phoenix. She had mastered a new lost art, which made her extremely happy. Her current strength had undergone an earth-shattering change compared to when she had first arrived. However, she still stood up and asked, "Senior, when can I leave?" She hadn't forgotten her mission to come here. "No hurry." A pleasant voice came from the cave abode. Obviously, this mysterious person was very satisfied with Murong Qingqing's performance. "You have already obtained a longevity fruit. You can live on. Don't worry about your life." Murong Qingqing shook her head and said, "It's not enough. What about Brother Xian? The other people in the divine realm are also in danger. I want to help them." "The Brother Xian you mentioned, is it this young man?" Suddenly, a light flashed in front of the cave abode, forming a young figure. It was Lin Xian's figure. When she saw the portrait, Murong Qingqing nodded. "Yes, Senior, you know Brother Xian? Could it be that Brother Xian is in danger? I must save him." At this moment, Murong Qingqing became extremely anxious. The voice laughed again. "So it's him. Then you don't have to worry. This little guy has already gone to the seventh layer of heaven and obtained the longevity fruit of the seventh layer of heaven. He now has 39 longevity fruits on him." "What, 39? Brother Xian is so powerful?" Murong Qingqing was extremely surprised. "He is indeed very powerful. I have been here for countless years and have seen several groups of intruders. However, he is the only one who has collected so many longevity fruits by himself. Little girl, you can rest assured now. You can continue to cultivate here with peace of mind. When your brother Xian reaches the ninth layer of heaven, I will let you meet up with him." "Really? That's great. Thank you, Senior." Murong Qingqing was very happy and continued to cultivate the phoenix technique. In the deepest part of the ancient cave abode, the light condensed into the figure of a young girl. This young girl was only 16 or 17 years old, and was very handsome. She was the mysterious master of the ancient cave abode. At this moment, her eyes flickered as she looked into the distance. Her gaze seemed to be able to pierce through heaven and earth, and see everything clearly. She sighed. He was indeed a rare young genius, but he was also extremely dangerous. "If this kid can survive to the ninth layer of heaven, I will only let you meet. However, if he really dies in the eighth layer of heaven, there is no need for you to meet." This mysterious girl naturally saw Lin Xian heading to the eighth layer of heaven, but she did not tell Murong Qingqing. Boom! Boom! At the intersection of the third and fourth layers of heaven, there was an ancient tomb. It was called the demon god's ancient tomb. At this moment, the door of the ancient tomb opened and 3 powerful figures walked out. These 3 earth immortals were the eagle god, the giant elephant, and the 9-headed lion. They were the guardians of the third, fourth, and fifth layers of heaven. At this moment, they came out of the ancient tomb and laughed heartily. They were very happy. The giant elephant was very excited, and the eagle god was also full of smiles. "This time, we finally got that thing. This way, when we reach the immortal realm and the 8th layer of heaven, we will have a great victory." "That's right. With the 3 of us joining forces, the other guardians are no match for us at all," the 9-headed lion said. "The others are fine, but I am worried about the people in the 9th layer of heaven. If they come down personally, things will be troublesome." Chapter 6286. The 9-headed lion said, "Don't worry, under normal circumstances, the Earth Immortals of the ninth heaven won't come out casually. Of course, they will send some people. But they should only be super great emperors, don't worry too much. Let's go to the eighth heaven. The three Earth Immortals tore open the void and quickly left. At the same time, the purple immortal of the sixth heaven moved out. Even the dream god of the second heaven also woke up from his cultivation and headed to the eighth heaven. There were also people from the ninth heaven. Everyone gathered at the eighth heaven. Lin Xian also arrived at the eighth heaven. As soon as he arrived, he felt a huge pressure enveloping him. There were more than one Earth Immortal in the eighth heaven, and there were even some familiar auras. From the looks of it, the people he had guessed were here as well. Lin Xian quickly flew towards the place where the auras were. Now, he represented the seventh heaven, and his identity was not ordinary. Those Earth Immortals probably did not dare to make a move. After flying like this for about a day, a mountain peak appeared in front of him. It was extremely terrifying. There were many figures standing outside. Stop! This is not a place where you can come. There were several powerful demonic beasts blocking the way. There were also countless martial artists in the eighth heaven. But after they arrived, those martial artists were all sent flying. Anyone who dared to cross the line was killed. But he didn't expect that someone would come here. Did they want to die? Lin Xian stopped and looked in front of him. He laughed coldly. I was wondering who it was. It turned out to be you guys who lost to me. Leave quickly, and I'll spare your life. Lin Xian really recognized a few powerful demonic beasts in front of him. They were the people who followed the giant elephant. It's you! Those powerful demonic beasts' faces changed when they saw Lin Xian. Why was it this kid? Damn it, this kid actually came to the eighth heaven. Quickly report to Lord Giant Elephant and let Lord Giant Elephant take action. It was just a great emperor. Was there a need for an Earth Immortal to take action? At this time, a figure next to him spoke in a deep voice. This person was wearing black armor, his body was like a javelin, and he had a very sharp aura. This person's name was Tsang Yao, the disciple of the nine-headed lion. As the disciple of an Earth Immortal, his identity was extraordinary. Moreover, he was a super great emperor himself. He was very powerful. Therefore, he did not take Lin Xian seriously at all. A few demonic thearchs at the side said, this brat had previously threatened Lord Mammoth that he could not be allowed to enter alive. Just him? Sang Yao was even more confused. A great emperor dared to threaten an Earth Immortal? Where did the courage come from? Did he eat a leopard's guts? Big brother Sang Yao, this kid is not ordinary. He is the one who opened the demon god's tomb. Upon hearing this, Sang Yao was stunned. He was the one who had opened the Fey god's tomb. He naturally knew of such a huge matter because his master and two other land immortals had entered the Fey god ancient tomb together. He stayed there for a long time before coming out. However, he never expected that the punk in front of him had opened the Fey god's tomb. I always wondered who that young man was. From the looks of it now, it was only SOSO. Perhaps he was just lucky. Let me see just how strong this kid is. From the looks of it, he wanted to make a move against Lin Xian. The surrounding demonic thearchs were stunned. Then they laughed. Sang Yao was much stronger than them. Moreover, as the disciple of an Earth Immortal, he was definitely terrifying. If he made a move, he might really be able to teach this kid a lesson. Heh. They looked at Lin Xian with pity in their eyes. Sang Yao's attacks were very cruel. Those who fought with him would either die or be injured. Sang Yao walked out, emitting a terrifying demonic aura. He said in a deep voice, Kid, show me your true strength and fight with me. You are the nine-headed lion's disciple? Lin Xian looked at him and shook his head slightly. I'll give you a chance. I won't attack you. Step aside and don't block my way. Lin Xian did not make a move immediately. It was not because he was afraid of him, but because he wanted to give the nine-headed lion some face. Because the Golden Lion King was still cultivating beside the nine-headed lion. He was giving the Golden Lion some face. Are you looking down on me? Sung Yao was furious. The other party was a great emperor. How dare he speak so arrogantly? How dare he look down on him? His face turned gloomy and a murderous aura quickly spread out from him. Kid, you have successfully angered me. Now you will have to suffer my wrath. There was a red flame dancing in his eyes. The few demonic beasts at the side quickly retreated when they saw this scene. They knew that the appearance of the blood-red flame meant that Sung Yao was really angry. The consequences would be severe. They laughed out loud. Kid, you better kneel on the ground and kowtow obediently. Apologize now and you will live. Otherwise, you will suffer a fate worse than death. Although you opened the demon god's tomb, it was mostly due to luck. If we were to compare strength, you are definitely not Brother Sung Yao's opponent. It's too late to apologize now. You have to kneel down and apologize. Sung Yao's voice was extremely cold because he was really angry. Sigh, why are there always people who don't know what death is? Lin Xian sighed. I didn't want to make a move. But since you asked for it, don't blame me. Sung Yao was so angry that he was trembling. How dare Lin Xian look down on him? Unforgivable. He roared angrily and threw a punch at Yi Qingyu. There was a sharp light on his fist as he charged forward. The terrifying murderous intent caused the world to crumble. Lin Xian executed the Sky Eagle movement technique and dodged the attack. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Sung Yao. He raised his golden right hand and slapped forward. Boom! Puff! A crisp slap was heard. A mouthful of blood flew out from the corner of Sung Yao's mouth. Even his teeth flew out. Everyone was dumbfounded by this voice. The surrounding demon emperor's eyes almost popped out. Sung Yao was slapped in the face? They couldn't believe it. Not slapping the face. Was Lin Xian trying to form a feud with Sung Yao? Where did Lin Xian get his courage from? Just as everyone was in a daze, a second slap was sent over. Pa! Another slap was heard and it was like thunder. Sung Yao was sent flying and fell into the void far away. His brain was in a daze and he wasn't clear-headed. Someone dared to slap him? Other than his master, who dared to slap his face. Other super great emperors wouldn't dare to do so even if they were given 10 guts. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Slapping you is already going easy on you. If you dare to be arrogant in front of me again, do you believe that I will kill you? His voice wasn't loud and he even had a smile on his face. However, when they heard this voice, the surrounding demonic emperors shuddered violently. They could feel a chill rising from the bottom of their hearts. This guy really seemed to have the guts to kill. Ruthless. Lunatic. What kind of existence was he? Chapter 62-87. Sung Yao could not believe what he had just experienced. Finally, he roared, Kid, do you know who I am? My master is the 9-headed lion. So what? Lin Xian said indifferently, your master is not here. He has the right to block my path, but you don't have the right to do so. With that, Lin Xian no longer paid any attention to the other party and continued walking forward. No one dared to stop him. The surrounding beasts were dumbfounded. The other party did not put Sung Yao in his eyes at all. Sung Yao was so angry that he was trembling. Damn it, I must take revenge for this. Just you wait. The killing intent on his body swept through the 9 heavens. The terrifying aura caused the heaven and earth to tremble. The surrounding beasts were trembling. They quickly walked over and said, Brother Sung Yao, this kid is too despicable. He actually dares to be disrespectful to you. That's right, Brother Sung Yao. Let Lord 9-headed Lion take action. He can definitely kill him with one slap. Do you think I'm an idiot? Previously, you wanted to borrow my hand to kill this kid. Now you want to see my master's hand. Do you really think that you are the only smart ones? Sung Yao was furious. With a roar, the surrounding beasts were struck by lightning. They retreated and vomited blood. Brother Sung Yao, please spare us. We won't dare to do it again. With a cold roar, Sang Yao did not continue to attack. Now, he placed all his attention on Lin Xian. He wanted to think about how to kill him. The eighth heaven was very mysterious. As far as the eye could see, there were mountains, tall and short. Terrifying, mysterious, and bizarre, there were all sorts of things that one could imagine. These mountains formed a mountain range called the World Creation Mountain. A mountain was a world. No wonder it dared to call itself the World Creation Mountain. Lin Xian was also astonished. He had obtained some of this information from the Heavenly Cycle Master. After seeing it, he was shocked. The mountain was no longer tall. It was famous with immortals. At this moment, there was more than one Earth immortal on the World Creation Mountain. That powerful aura was enough to suppress everything. Other than the Earth immortals, there were also countless followers. At this moment, these people were also watching curiously from the World Creation Mountain. Legend had it that there was a huge secret here. They did not know if they would be lucky enough to obtain it. Lin Xian's appearance stunned the people in front. They had 10 points of doubt. It was a very unfamiliar face. He didn't recognize it. However, for the other party to be able to come here, he was definitely not simple. Perhaps he was a subordinate of some Earth immortal. They did not make a move. There were even people who came over to chat with him. Lin Xian merely looked at the other party in silence, and did not respond. The woman was stunned. Arrogant brat, let's see how this sister will deal with you when I have the chance. The woman clenched her teeth. Her charm had actually failed. Damn it! It's you! Lin Gongzi! At this moment, a cry of surprise was heard. Lin Xian turned to look. Lei Xiao was standing in front of him. Mao Xia and the others. This was the Eagle God's subordinate. Previously, they had formed a team to attack the Fey God's tomb. So they knew each other. It was just that he didn't expect to see him again. Lin Gongzi, it really is you. Under the cat and the others also walked over. They didn't expect to see each other here. They were indeed surprised. After all, they had all followed the land immortals here. Lin Xian was an intruder. Without a land immortal behind him, how did he get here? Lei Xiao said. Lin Gongzi, I know you are here to look for the longevity fruit, but I can tell you that there is no longevity fruit in the 8th level of heaven. You should leave quickly. This place is very dangerous. I know that there is no longevity fruit here, and I am not here to look for the longevity fruit. There is danger everywhere. You don't have to worry about me, Lin Xian said with a smile. Brat, you actually dare to come. I advise you to get lost. Otherwise, when our giant elephant comes, you will be dead. Another woman spoke. This woman was wearing a blue dress. She was a water demon. His figure was erratic, and countless water droplets dripped from his body. Giant elephant? With just him? Lin Xian snorted coldly. You didn't even dare to attack me in the 3rd level of heaven, let alone the 8th level of heaven. Lin Xian's voice was not loud, but his tone was very arrogant. He did not put the land immortals in his eyes at all. This made the figures on the surrounding mountains. They were extremely shocked. Who is this kid? How dare he provoke the land immortals? Which force is he from? Are you courting death? The water demon was furious. Lin Xian glanced at him, and a biting cold sword intent burst out from his eyes. Suddenly, the water demon's body trembled. He actually had a fatal feeling. He wanted to roar, but he couldn't say anything. Damn it, why? The other party is just a great emperor. Why should I be afraid of him? The water demon was shocked. Who is the one who dares to provoke me? At this moment, a loud voice came from afar, as if a heavenly god was roaring. Suddenly, a large crack spread from afar. Everyone's scalps went numb with fear. This is the aura of a land immortal. A land immortal has arrived. The water demon trembled with excitement. Great, it's the giant elephant. Brat, you are dead. Greetings, giant elephant. A tall figure walked over from afar. He seemed to have endless power. It was the giant elephant. After arriving, he stared ahead. When he saw Lin Xian, he was stunned. Then, his face turned completely gloomy. "It's you!" He gritted his teeth and said. To be honest, he didn't care about ordinary great emperors at all. He wouldn't even remember them. However, the brat in front of him was an exception. The other party was a young great emperor, but he dared to threaten him. However, the other party was an intruder. He had left last time, and it would be difficult to see him again in this lifetime. However, he didn't expect to meet him again in the 8th layer of heaven. This was a good opportunity to kill him. Killing intent emerged in the giant elephant's heart, but he didn't immediately make a move. He knew that the other party had the immortal fire. Last time, he was so embarrassed because he was frightened by this fire. Now, did the other party still have the immortal fire? He had to find a way to investigate first. At the same time, he was even more shocked that the other party had come to the 8th layer of heaven in such a short time. This speed was too fast, so fast that it was unbelievable. The giant elephant in front fell silent, but the power on his body was getting more and more terrifying. As if black clouds were pressing down on the city, everyone's body trembled. At this moment, Lin Xian smiled. "So it's you. It's really been a long time." Facing a land immortal, he didn't feel the slightest pressure. "How dare you! Brat, you are too arrogant. You don't even kneel when you see a land immortal!" The water demon next to him shouted angrily. With the giant elephant here, he wasn't worried or afraid. Who would dare to make a move? Puff! A ray of light flashed between heaven and earth, and a sword chi directly slashed at the water demon. With a puff, the water demon was split in half. His body fell from the sky. The water demon was stunned. "Someone dares to make a move! How dare you make a move in front of the giant elephant? Who is it? Are you courting death?" Chapter 6288. The water demon screamed in the air. Looking at this scene, everyone was terrified. This guy dared to attack in front of an earth immortal. It was unbelievable. What was even more frightening was that the giant elephant didn't attack or even blame him. Could it be that the giant elephant was afraid of him? What kind of trump card did this kid have? He could make an earth immortal afraid. Lin Xian smiled and retracted his hand. He said lightly, "Giant elephant, your subordinate is too presumptuous. I'll teach him a lesson. No problem, right?" The giant elephant snorted and didn't say anything. He suspected that the other party still had the immortal fire. Otherwise, why would he dare to be arrogant in front of him? When the others looked at Lin Xian, they were terrified. They didn't dare to challenge this person anymore. These young people were killing gods. They killed without a word. However, the other party succeeded. He didn't take the earth immortal seriously at all. "What's the matter?" A cold voice came from the tall mountain in the distance. Then, a few figures arrived. The surrounding people all knelt down and bowed. Only Lin Xian stood in the air with his hands behind his back. How dare he, a mere great emperor, not bow to the earth immortals when he saw them? The two figures that came were Eagle God and the nine-headed lion. Their terrifying auras filled the air. When they arrived nearby and saw that it was Lin Xian, they were also stunned. "It's you!" Eagle God exclaimed. The nine-headed lion's eyes flickered. No wonder the other party didn't bow. He knew this young man. He was very arrogant. "Why are you here? There are no longevity fruits here. Leave." The nine-headed lion didn't attack. However, a young man next to him said, "Master, you can't spare him. He's too arrogant." The one who spoke was Tseng Yao. He had been defeated by Lin Xian, so he desperately hoped that his master would attack. The nine-headed lion glanced at him. Although he didn't say anything, his eyes were cold. Tseng Yao didn't dare to speak. He knew that his master was blaming him for his incompetence. Indeed, he was the disciple of an earth immortal. He had the strength of a great emperor and many trump cards. However, he couldn't do anything to a young man of a lower realm. If word got out, it would be too embarrassing. One of the heads of the 9-headed lion turned around and looked at Lin Xian again. Young man, on account of your meritorious service in opening the ancient tomb, everything that happened before will be written off. I won't hold it against you. You may leave. There is nothing here that you intruders want. Lin Xian smiled. Thank you for your kindness, senior. However, I'm not here for the longevity fruit. Instead, he came for the clues of the immortal order. As soon as he said that, the 9-headed lion was stunned. All 9 heads opened their eyes. Eagle God and Colossus sucked in a breath of cold air. Their eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. How bold! The Colossus roared angrily. A mere great emperor dares to have designs on the immortal token. You must be tired of living, right? Eagle God also sighed. Young man, take back what you just said. Otherwise, your little contribution will vanish. Lin Xian was not afraid. He said, You won't dare to do anything to me. Brat, I know you have the immortal flame, but how much do you have? Now that the 3 of us have joined forces, what can you do? Colossus was also confident this time. The 3 Earth Immortals could definitely crush the other party. As long as they blocked the immortal flame, the rest would be too simple. Without the immortal flame, Lin Xian would be a small ant in front of them. They could kill him 10,000 times in an instant. Since you are so stubborn, we will suppress you first. The 9-headed lion said coldly. Song Yao, who was beside him, was so excited that he trembled. He laughed silently. That's great. Brat, are you still arrogant? Offending 3 Earth Immortals at the same time. No one can save you. The other people also sneered. They had been watching everything silently. They knew that Lin Xian was dead meat. The 3 Earth Immortals in front of him walked over together. The power of the Earth Immortals erupted from their bodies. The terrifying aura crushed everything. The void around Lin Xian shattered. Before attacking, let's see what this is. Lin Xian snorted and took out a flag. On the flag, there was a number 7. The Guardian flag. You actually have this. The 3 Earth Immortals in front stopped in their tracks. They were extremely shocked. Especially Colossus, who was roaring. This is impossible. How did you get it? This thing was only owned by the guardian of each layer of heaven. How did he get it? I represent the 7th layer of heaven. Lin Xian's voice was like thunder, spreading in all directions. Attacking me is challenging the 7th layer of heaven and violating the rules of Immortal City. Let's see who dares. The roar made everyone's heart beat wildly. Song Yao was dumbfounded because he realized that his master was angry. However, he didn't attack. It's over. This brat really intimidated his master. Not only that, he also intimidated the 3 Earth Immortals. Big brother, what should we do? Why don't we suppress him first? Colossus said. The 9-headed lion shook his head. No. Now that we are trying to break through to Immortal City, we are challenging the rules of Immortal City. This is an extremely risky thing to do. If we attack him now, we will be challenging the 7th layer of heaven. The power of Immortal City might erupt in advance. This way, our following actions will be greatly hindered. Let's let this brat live first. Colossus gritted his teeth. Then let's let him live for a while. However, after we succeed in breaking through to Immortal City, we definitely can't let this brat live. Don't worry. The 9-headed lion also said, No one can challenge us and escape unscathed. Colossus smiled. He knew that his big brother also had the intention to kill. This way, the other party would die sooner or later. Seeing that the 3 Earth Immortals didn't take action, Lin Xian also heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Zhou Tianshi was right. These people didn't dare to break the rules now. Of course, once they got the immortal token, it would be different. However, Lin Xian wouldn't let these people get the clue of the immortal token. Only he could get this clue. Let's go, we will break through to Immortal City together. Lin Xian walked forward. He came in front of the Earth Immortals casually. Then, he glanced at Sung Yao. Sung Yao was so scared that he lowered his head and didn't dare to say anything. Ha ha! Lin Xian laughed heartily. Then, he flew towards the huge mountain in the distance. The 3 Earth Immortals disappeared for a year. In their eyes, Lin Xian was already a dead man. It was only a matter of time. Let's go too. The 3 of them left together. The most important thing now was to break through to Immortal City. Everything else was not important. On the huge mountain, there were a few figures. Among them, there was a person in purple clothes that fluttered like an immortal spirit. He was the 6th layer of heaven, Purple Immortal. Beside him, there were a few figures. There were old people and young people. They weren't Earth Immortals, but they were qualified to stand here. Because they represented the 9th layer of heaven. Chapter 6289. Someone was coming. Purple Immortal and the few people from the 9th heaven looked over in their direction. When they saw Lin Xian, they were all stunned. An unfamiliar young man, just a great emperor. Why was he here? Logically speaking, even the followers of an Earth Immortal were not qualified to come here. Who are you? On the 9th heaven side, a man in a green robe shouted coldly. His expression was cold, like a war god. Of course, he was not a real Earth Immortal, but just a super great emperor. However, among the super great emperors, he was extremely terrifying. He was very proud, enough to sweep through everything. This is not a place where you can come. The man in green robe shouted coldly. Lin Xian didn't stop walking. He continued to look ahead. Then he laughed. You are just a super great emperor. If you can come, why can't I? Courting death, can you compare to me? The man in green robe shouted coldly and stretched out his hand. His palm was like a hammer, rushing out and killing Lin Xian. Lin Xian's speed was extremely fast. The sky eagle instantly. He dodged this move. The great emperor in green robe frowned. Eagle God's unique skill, you are the 3rd heaven, Eagle God's subordinate. His face darkened. Didn't Eagle God tell you? Facing the 9th heaven, do you have to kneel down and kowtow? Although he was just a super great emperor, his tone was even more arrogant than an Earth Immortal. Buzz! Lin Xian slashed out with his sword, and a biting cold sword she shot forward. The man in green robe's face changed. You are courting death. He punched out. The two collided, and he was forced back. This sword was out of his expectations. Under his carelessness, he suffered a loss. His fist cracked, and white bones appeared. You are courting death. He was angry. He was ready to use all his strength to kill the other party. Don't do it first. At this time, Purple Immortal walked out. He waved his hand and stopped the great emperor in green robe. At the same time, he frowned and said, Kid, you are not dead. It seems that I have underestimated you. He naturally recognized Lin Xian. He did not expect that his sister's secret guards to fail to kill the other party. Instead, the other party had really come to the 8th heaven. Were those secret guards dead? How did you kill them? Violet Immortal said coldly. Hearing this, the cyan-robed great emperor's eyebrows twitched. The shadow guard is dead. Who is this kid? He did not dare to act rashly. Lin Xian said, Oh, you mean those people? They were dead. In an instant, his astral soul was destroyed. As for who did it? Take a guess. Purple Immortal frowned. This kid was even more arrogant than before. Could it be that Heavenly Master Zhou did it? I know you have immortal energy, but it's very little. At most, you can only use it once. This time, there was more than one land immortal. So, you don't have the right to be arrogant here. Is that so? I came here with the permission of 3 land immortals. Lin Xian pointed at the 3 people behind them and said, The 3 of them have agreed. What right do you have to object? You agreed. Violet Immortal was stunned. She looked ahead. The 9-headed lion and the other two arrived. They nodded and said, "That's right, we agreed to let him stay here." "Are you crazy?" Violet Immortal jumped up. Eagle God said, "He represents the 7th layer of heaven." "That's right, I represent the 7th layer of heaven." Lin Xian waved his hand and took out the flag. Then, he boldly found a place and sat down. He said lightly, "Now let's see who dares to drive me away." The surroundings fell silent for a moment. No one spoke. The other party could hold this flag, which meant that he was qualified to come here. However, this kid was too arrogant. Everyone wanted to slap him to death. Let's talk about the big picture. How are we going to attack each other? Before we find any clues, let's work together. Okay. Violet Immortal nodded. The people from the 9th layer of heaven also walked over. They did not represent one land immortal. There were several land immortals in the 9th layer of heaven. Each land immortal sent a representative. At present there were 3 forces. One of them was the mysterious woman in purple, who was Violet Immortal's sister. He and Violet Immortal could be counted as one side. As for the 9-headed lion and his brothers, they were counted as one side. The dream god had not appeared yet. The other 2 land immortals of the 9th layer of heaven were temporarily working together. As for Lin Xian, of course, he would fight alone. Everyone stayed far away from him. Even if they allowed him to be here, they did not plan to work together with Lin Xian. The 9-headed lion said coldly, "Don't be like this. This kid is not ordinary. He can represent the 7th layer of heaven and prove his strength. And I heard that he has the power of immortality. It's best if we use his power to break through to immortality." "That's right." The Colossus also said, "It's not too late to kill him after we find clues." The people from the 9th layer of heaven nodded. Violet Immortal did not say anything. He glanced at them with a strange expression. He found an opportunity to send a voice transmission to the giant elephant and said a few words. The Colossus was stunned. Then he said, "That's not my weapon. It's Lin Xian, that kid. I gave him a weapon before. He's framing me." It turned out that Violet Immortal transmitted a message to the Colossus. He said that he found a weapon in the ruins of the 7th layer of Heaven Array sect. After the Colossus heard it, he immediately denied it. Violet Immortal said, "We don't need to know who you gave the weapon to. We just need to know that your information is on it. Do you know? With the fragments of the weapon, my sister will have an excuse to cross worlds and fight. If she wants to attack you, can you resist?" The Colossus's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and said, "What do you want?" Violet Immortal smiled. "Of course, we want to work together. My sister wants to work with you." The Colossus was silent for a while. Then he transmitted a message. "Okay, but we can only work together secretly. I don't want to fall out with my brother now." "No problem." Violet Immortal smiled. "Happy cooperation." Next, the land immortals worked together and used their divine fire to condense a huge mirror. This mirror turned into the sky mirror. It covered the whole sky and flew toward the World Creation Mountain. What were they looking for? This place was very suspicious. The sky mirror condensed a light beam and hit a mountain in the distance. That place was very far away. Looking from the mountain where they were sitting, they could only see a light spot. "Go and check it out. We won't let go of any possibility," the 9-headed lion said. The others nodded. They were ready to send their subordinates to check it out together. The World Creation Mountain hid a secret. This secret was the clue to the Immortal Token. And the so-called Immortal was to find this clue. Once they found it, they would have a great chance to get the Immortal Token and leave the Immortal City. Violet Immortal looked at Lin Xian and said lightly, "Lin Gongzi, you are powerful. Why don't you come with us this time? After all, we are now an alliance. Yes, if you want to work with us, you have to listen to us." The Colossus also snorted coldly. Countless pairs of eyes glanced toward Lin Xian. Chapter 6290. Sure, no problem. Lin Xian laughed. So straightforward? This made Purple Immortal and the giant statue stunned. Could this kid be plotting something? However, they soon laughed. They were really thinking too much. He was just an ant. Even if he had a plot, so what? They were here, and there were several kinds of Earth Immortals. Could it be that they would be fooled by the other party? In the face of absolute strength, all schemes were futile. So what if the other party represented the seventh heaven? Even the heavenly cycle master at his peak would not be able to fight against several Earth Immortals alone. Therefore, they were thinking too much. In that case, let's go. Go and come back quickly. Don't waste time. Several Earth Immortals ordered. Immediately, a few figures flew out from under them. They formed a team of more than 10 people. Lin Xian also followed. This team flew towards the distant light spot. As for the other Earth Immortals, they were not idle either. They were looking for the next possible place. The eighth heaven was too big, and the world creation mountain was extremely mysterious. It was impossible for them to find it in one go. They would probably have to search for a while. The water demon was also in this team. They looked at Lin Xian and gritted their teeth. They were wondering if they should join forces with more than 10 great emperors to attack the other party together. See if they could do anything to the other party. After thinking about it, they were not confident. Moreover, this time, it was an order from the Earth Immortals. They did not dare to delay. However, no one would approach Lin Xian. Along the way, Lin Xian was also extremely silent. In his mind, he was perfecting the plan. That's right, it was indeed a plan. This time, Lin Xian and the Immortal Hand had joined forces to set up a plan to defeat these Earth Immortals. Moreover, the Immortal Hand promised that as long as Lin Xian did this, he would give Lin Xian clues about the Immortal Token. Lin Xian agreed decisively. Most of these Earth Immortals had enmity with him, and would not let him go. It was better to cooperate, and injure these Earth Immortals. This was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Finally, they arrived at the place where the light spot was. From afar, it looked like a dot of light. But now, it covered hundreds of mountains. They had to search carefully. When all of the mountains had been collected, they sighed. There are no clues. This place is fake. At this moment, another light spot descended from the sky, and the Land Immortal's voice sounded, "Go here." Soon, they set off again. However, after the 3rd time, these people were in despair. There were no clues at all. Come back and rest. Let's change the team. The 9-headed lion spoke. Everyone returned to rest. However, Lin Xian said, I'll go again. I didn't use much energy. He was very proactive, which made the 9-headed lion, Purple Deity, and the others frown slightly. There was definitely something wrong with this kid. They secretly instructed their subordinates. Be careful and be on guard at the same time. Don't get tricked by the other party. The great emperors under him nodded. Along the way, they were on guard against Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian had no intention of harming them. Instead, he personally inspected every mountain peak. It was as if he would not let go of any clues. When he returned for the 4th time, his subordinates told the 9-headed lion and the other Land Immortals about this news. This made the Land Immortals very surprised. Could it be that this kid had no ulterior motives? Evil Deity said. Maybe he just wants to find clues. Purple Deity said. That's true. When he came to the 6th heaven, he asked me for clues about the Immortal Token. At that time, I thought this kid was an idiot. Now, it seems that he really has an idea about the Immortal Token. No wonder he's so proactive. However, this is also good. Let him be the vanguard. Anyway, if he finds it, it will be ours sooner or later. The Land Immortals all laughed. On the 5th trip, Lin Xian still participated. This time, they encountered danger. A formation appeared. The terrifying Great Formation enveloped heaven and earth, losing its effectiveness. The places it touched were all affected. Break out of the encirclement. With a roar, they all counterattacked. The formation flickered, and terrifying ice and snow rushed over. The vast ice wanted to freeze everyone. "Get lost!" Lin Xian roared. The water and fire on his body seemed to have turned into a fire god. He began to melt the ice and snow. He said, "Let's go." Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to help them. However, they didn't hesitate at all. They didn't even want to help Lin Xian. They quickly rushed over. Soon, only Lin Xian was left in the formation. Lin Xian roared angrily. His golden right hand slapped out, forming a monstrous divine flame that directly shattered the ice and snow in the sky. Heaven and earth broke open, and Lin Xian rushed out. The people outside were terrified. This guy was so strong. Even the water demon's face was ugly. Previously, Lin Xian had seriously injured him with one sword strike. But later the land immortals helped him recover. Previously, he gnashed his teeth at Lin Xian. But this time, Lin Xian saved his life. It felt so unreal. Seeing Lin Xian come out, the water demon gritted his teeth and said, "Kid, don't expect me to thank you. That's right, we won't let you go." The other demonic beasts also gnashed their teeth. The people of the ninth heaven were even more murderous. Lin Xian said, "You think too much. I let you live so that you can find clues to improve efficiency. I only have one goal, and that is the clue of the immortal token. Damn it, what an arrogant kid!" They gnashed their teeth. They continued to search. Following that, they encountered more dangers, terrifying formations, and even terrifying puppets. That puppet was very powerful and chased them all the way. Fortunately, Lin Xian was extremely powerful and restrained the puppet, allowing them to escape. However, this time, Lin Xian seemed to be injured, and a crack appeared on his body. The other few people frowned. This time, they didn't mock and ridicule him. Lin Xian still didn't stand with these people. Instead, he sat alone and healed his wounds. He thought to himself, "It's not easy to act. If I don't pay a price and act realistically, how can these people believe it?" That's right, everything was an act. These were all arranged. Lin Xian had the aura of the immortal hand. To be honest, he wouldn't be in any danger in the entire eighth heaven. However, in order to act realistically, he would rather be injured himself. After all, he had to deceive several land immortals. Next, he had to continue acting. They continued to search. When they reached the 13th possible location, they found that there was no way they could find it. Everyone was in danger. This time, the danger was 10% terrifying. The mountain peak cracked, and they were directly pushed in. Countless divine and immortal powers appeared around them. It was extremely terrifying. These great emperors were desperate. "Are we going to die?" Lin Xian said. "Don't worry, this place is so magical. Maybe there is something we want. Go and look for it." Lin Xian shouted angrily, pushing the golden right hand and blasting in all directions. Soon, a large number of mountain peaks cracked, and some light shone out from the cracks. Lin Xian exclaimed, "There is a treasure." Everyone turned their heads to look. In the next moment, their eyes almost popped out. They saw that there was a sky full of treasures around them, piled up into a mountain. Chapter 6291. The people who came in went crazy when they saw the scene around them. They even forgot about the danger, because the scene around them was too shocking. They entered the crack in the mountain. Lin Xian attacked continuously and tore open all the cracks in the mountain. Then, a monstrous radiance appeared in that place. A mysterious aura appeared. The mountain wall cracked open, and the things inside scattered out. Instantly, they filled the space. What were these things? Divine herbs that were tens of thousands of years old and hundreds of thousands of years old fell to the ground. All kinds of precious metals were scattered there. These were all metals that could be used to refine extreme weapons. There were even metals that could be used to forge divine artifacts. In addition, there were all kinds of natural treasures. They recognized some of them, but they had never seen some of them before. With so many treasures, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to find one. However, at this moment, there were thousands of them in front of them. How could these great emperors not go crazy? At this moment, they had only one thought: we're rich, we're really rich. With these things, they were even confident that they could cultivate to become Earth Immortals. One had to know how difficult it was to become a Earth Immortal. Previously, Yu Xian'er had tried her best but failed. She only succeeded after killing Zhou Tianshi. One could imagine how difficult it was to become a Earth Immortal. But now, these great emperors were so confident. It was enough to show how many treasures there were. We're rich, let's do it. The water demon instantly rushed over. His body turned into a sea, and the raging waves crashed against the shore and swept down. Apart from that, there was also the water demon. It turned into the sky. The other great emperors also attacked. Everyone was dividing the treasures. Only Lin Xian did not touch them. The show had begun. Lin Xian thought to himself. Boom! An earth-shattering sound came from below. Then, more than 10 figures all retreated. The water demon and the others vomited blood and rolled in anger. Damn it, they couldn't get it. There was a terrifying power on these treasures that sealed everything. They were about to tear it open. They continued to attack. However, after hundreds and thousands of moves, they were about to despair. At this moment, Lin Xian snorted coldly. Idiot! What did you say? The water demon turned his head and was angry. The others were also envious. Lin Woody, don't think that you can be arrogant in front of me just because you saved me. We won't give you any of these treasures. Not a single one. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Can't you see? With that, he activated the 6 paths of reincarnation, and the power of reincarnation enveloped the area below. Immediately, a terrifying divine might appeared on those treasures. As Lin Xian dodged the attacks of the array, he pointed at the water demon and said, This is divine power, the power of a land immortal. You can't break it, and neither can I. Only by inviting an earth immortal can we break it. What? How could this be? The water demon and the others were in despair. Should we call the land immortals over? In that case, they wouldn't be able to obtain any treasures. Don't be greedy. Do you want to monopolize all the treasures here? The land immortals will tear you to pieces. Do you think they don't know anything? Hurry up and call the land immortal. Why don't you go? They stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, Do they listen to me? You are their subordinates. If you don't leave now, you will all die here. As if confirming Lin Xian's words, the surrounding array suddenly became terrifying. The water demon and the others were sent flying and vomited blood. The divine fire and immortal energy on their bodies dimmed. This kid was right. There was divine power on it, so no one could open it. Let's go and invite the land immortals. Some great emperors decisively tore open the void and dodged. They rushed out. If they went to report now, it would definitely be a great merit. Even if they couldn't obtain these treasures, they would still obtain other benefits. If they were any later, it would be too late. Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile as he watched the fleeing figures. His target wasn't these great emperors. His target was the land immortals. Next, when the land immortals entered the game, it would be the real counterattack. On the largest mountain peak, the land immortals controlled the heaven mirror and continued to search. They were very patient. They had been in Immortal City for millions of years. They didn't care about these few months at all. At this moment, a few figures flew over from afar. They were injured and in an extremely sorry state. What's going on? Purple Immortal frowned. Why are you so injured? Did that Lin Xian make a move? Damn it, I knew he didn't have good intentions. The Colossus also roared. However, the water demon and the others said, It's not him. It's not Lin Xian who made a move on us. We found treasures. They quickly told him what had happened. When they heard that there were thousands of treasures scattered all over the ground like stones, the land immortals were stunned. The land immortals were also stunned. Are you sure? Yes. The water demon nodded and said, At that time, Lin Xian made a move immediately after seeing the treasures. However, he didn't succeed. He was bounced back. Later, we found that there was a terrifying divine power on it. It was the power of a land immortal. That kid couldn't open it. Did you try? The nine-headed lion asked. The water demon trembled and quickly lowered his head. In order to prevent that kid from lying, we also tried. Of course, he didn't dare to say that they were jealous and wanted to snatch the treasures. If he said that, these land immortals would tear him into pieces. Could it be a trap? Purple Immortal was extremely cautious. After all, the seventh heaven set up by her sister was destroyed by this kid. The Colossus said, That kid has the immortal fire, which is a power that can threaten land immortals. He saw so many treasures, why didn't he use the immortal fire? It was a trap. A few of the ninth heaven experts also spoke out. The nine-headed lion's eyes were piercingly cold. This kid dares to trick us. Bring him back and suppress him. We can't let him continue to participate in the search. However, Purple Immortal said, Wait, how about I go and take a look? You! They were all stunned and looked at Purple Immortal. You're not afraid of the immortal fire? The nine-headed lion's 9 heads bloomed with light. He said, What other information do you have? You didn't tell us, did you? Say it. Since we've joined forces, it's not nice of you to hide it. In the 9th heaven, the people of the other 2 forces said, Since Senior Purple Immortal wants to go, why don't we go and take a look together? We have more people, and that kid has a trump card, so he can't resist. Purple Immortal's face turned cold. He snorted. According to the information I got, that kid used the immortal fire. Used? Are you sure? The Colossus roared. Eagle God, the 9-headed lion, and the others were all stunned. Purple Immortal had no choice but to say, The land immortal of the 7th heaven is Yu Xiener. She was originally on our side, but she was seriously injured. The one who attacked her was Lin Xian. He used the immortal fire to injure Yu Xiener. Therefore, he won the right to come and find the immortal token. Chapter 6292. That kid doesn't have the immortal fire. That's great. When the time comes, we can attack without any hesitation. Zhu Xiang smiled cruelly. As long as they found clues about the immortal token, they would attack immediately. What are we waiting for? Let's act immediately. It's just a treasure. It's not what we want. There's no need to send everyone. Nine-headed lion was still very calm. He had 9 heads and was very intelligent. He said, Just send some people. The rest will continue to look for clues about the immortal token. Don't forget, no matter how much you get, it's useless if you can't get out. How about I go? Zhu Xiang was tempted. He glanced at Violet Deity. Violet Deity nodded. She also wanted to go. At this time, they could work together. However, Nine-headed Lion persuaded. Don't go. Let Third go. He's fast and has some friendship with that kid. Third, you go. I'll go too. I don't feel safe going alone. Violet Deity stood out. He couldn't give up such a good opportunity. We'll also send some people to 9th heaven. The people of the other 2 factions said in a deep voice. They had also sent 2 super great emperors. Okay, come back quickly. I'll only give you 1 day. Don't delay the search for clues about the immortal token. Nine-headed Lion said coldly. Don't worry, big brother. We'll be back soon. Eagle Deity had black wings on his back. He was extremely fast. Violet Immortal wielded a purple longsword, slicing through the void. Watching the 2 leave, Zhu Xiang was envious. Don't worry. They won't dare to take the treasure alone. Nine-headed Lion said coldly. Zhu Xiang's body shook, then he laughed. Of course. Who dares to go against Big Brother? As long as the ninth heaven's earth immortal doesn't come, no one is Big Brother's opponent. What he said was not wrong. The nine-headed lion was the strongest among these people. Water Demon and the others returned to the Broken Mountain. At this moment, Lin Xian was injured. The other great emperors were even worse. Some were split open, some were torn apart. Their blood dyed the sky. Boom! Violet Deity arrived and saw this scene. She slashed down with her sword. The purple sword energy cut through the sky and split the array in half. Great, we're saved. The great emperors inside were in despair. But now they cheered. With the help of the land immortals, they were safe. Lin Xian raised his head as well. His face was pale and he looked extremely weak. He looked up at the sky. He saw Eagle God and Violet Immortal. Are there only two land immortals? He was really cautious. However, if there were two of them, so be it. Let's start with an appetizer. Then we'll deal with them slowly. In the end, we'll get rid of them all in one fell swoop. You're finally here. If you didn't come, all of your subordinates would have died. Lin Xian pretended to be very angry and snorted coldly. Eagle Deity glanced at him but didn't say anything. The Purple Deity laughed. Brat, aren't you very arrogant? He even threatened me before. Why didn't you use your trump card to seize these treasures? Lin Xian said. Although the treasure is good, it's not my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is the immortal token, so I have to save my trump card for last. At that time, if anyone dares to fight with me for the immortal token, I'll use my trump card to attack them. Purple Deity sneered, her heart filled with disdain. Brat, what are you pretending for? You've used up all your trump cards. Do you really think we don't know? However, he soon stopped paying attention to Lin Xian. He looked ahead and took a deep breath. There are so many treasures here. Because he was a land immortal. At this moment, when he saw the mountain of treasures, his heart skipped a beat. Eagle Deity, who was beside him, couldn't remain calm. He looked at Lin Xian and said, Baby, I can't give you a single one. You should be mentally prepared. He had some friendship with Lin Xian, but he had already given Lin Xian the longevity fruit and Lin Xian the Tianyin instant. Therefore, he didn't owe Lin Xian anything. Lin Xian smiled when he saw the other party's attitude. Previously, he was still hesitating whether he should let Eagle Deity go. Now that he saw Eagle Deity's reaction, he didn't have to hesitate anymore. Because he had already decided that he wouldn't let him go. Indeed, he didn't owe him anything. Next, they would be enemies. Make your move. Violet Immortal roared angrily as the purple sword in her hand erupted. A terrifying claw also appeared on Eagle Deity's side. The power of the land immortals swept out, shattering the surrounding array. The other great emperors retreated one after another. Even Lin Xian exclaimed. He waved his hand and took out an array to defend the surroundings. This array was extremely terrifying. It could actually resist some of the power of the land immortals. Eagle Deity was surprised. Violet Immortal snorted coldly. Zhou Tianshur's array. It seemed that the person standing behind him was indeed a Zhou Tianshur. However, this array could only be used for defense. He promised that he would be able to shatter the array within 3 moves. Without the immortal fire, the other party couldn't threaten him at all. If it weren't for the Guardian flag, he would have killed him long ago. Now let's take the treasures first. Let's work together and break all the seals first. Then we'll take the treasures away. The two land immortals looked at each other, and then quickly attacked. Their speed was so fast that the other great emperors couldn't see their movements clearly. They could only feel the endless power erupting. There were only 3 people left in front of them. The 2 land immortals and Lin Xian. Lin Xian was able to get close because of the array formation. The water demon in the sky was envious. This kid really has a lot of trump cards. He's so close. Will he be able to pick up a treasure later? On the other side, Sangya snorted coldly. Impossible. The land immortals won't give him a chance. Just as he finished speaking, a rumbling sound came from below. Then, Violet Immortal was terrified. What's that? Get lost. Eagle Deity also roared angrily. With a roar, a pair of huge wings covered the sky and the earth. Then, he tore open the void and tried to escape. However, he couldn't escape at all. A huge hand appeared and directly enveloped the two land immortals. Then, the treasures piled up into a mountain below also erupted with divine power. A terrifying deep pit instantly covered the sky and the earth. Is such a powerful thing a trap? The two land immortals attacked crazily. Immortal power! They exclaimed. However, it was useless to say anything. The immortal hand directly suppressed the two land immortals under the ground. What happened? An earth-shattering power came from below. All the great emperors were terrified. They fled frantically. When they reached a safe place, they looked at each other in dismay. What happened just now? I heard the land immortals screaming. Could it be a trap? Damn it, did Lin Woody make a move? Impossible, he doesn't have that ability. Damn it, this place is so strange. Countless voices of exclamation and discussion sounded. At this moment, Lin Xian flew back from afar. His body was even more broken, and the array around him was also broken. Blood dyed his body red. I was scared to death. If it weren't for the array, I would have died. It's too terrifying. The two land immortals were captured, Lin Xian said as he flew. Chapter 6293. Lin Xian didn't die. He was still alive. When the people in the distance saw this scene, they all went crazy. They even rushed over and roared. Where are our land immortals? Where are they? They had heard purple immortals roar before. Lin Xian sighed and said, Sigh, the two seniors were enveloped by a mysterious hand. Do you know how terrifying that hand is? It made one's hair stand on end. What's the situation now? I don't know either. Mysterious hand? How could this be? These great emperors were all crazy. Someone stared at Lin Xian and said, You're the one behind this. You're framing us. That's right, capture him and take his soul. Immediately, several great emperors attacked Lin Xian. Boom! Lin Xian struck out with his golden right hand. At the same time, his sword energy soared into the sky and repelled these great emperors. He gritted his teeth and said, Although I'm injured, I'm not someone you can challenge. Also, how powerful are the land immortals? Do you think I can frame them? In the face of absolute strength, everything is in vain. Don't you have any brains? As he spoke, Lin Xian spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. His aura became even weaker. We can't even defeat the other party who spat out blood. The great emperors' faces were full of frustration. At the same time, they began to think carefully. Indeed, it was possible to trap one land immortal, but it was absolutely impossible to trap two land immortals. What about Eagle God? Eagle God's speed was extremely fast. Could it be that he didn't dodge? Lin Xian shook his head silently and said, I think the two seniors were temporarily trapped and didn't die. After all, you know how powerful the land immortals are. However, it's impossible for them to come out by themselves. It seems that we can only ask the other land immortals to help us outside. That's right, there were still two land immortals. At this moment, the great emperors under him hurriedly returned. On the huge mountain peak, Giant Elephant, Nine-Headed Lion, and a few others were stunned when they heard the news. The two land immortals had disappeared. They were trapped. What kind of array? To be able to trap a land immortal? Their first thought was that this was Lin Xian's scheme. However, they soon found it laughable. It was one thing for an ant to be able to threaten them with the undying flame. Now that they had set up such a trap, it was impossible for them to jump into it. It was impossible even if she was beaten to death. This kid didn't have that kind of ability. What do you think? The 9-headed lion looked at the giant elephant and the people of the 9th heaven. The giant elephant said, "Third brother's speed is so fast, but he still hasn't come out. You can imagine how terrifying that mysterious hand is." The super great emperors of the 9 heavens also said, "Seniors, that place was detected by our sky mirror. It's one of the possibilities." Although other places were also dangerous, they had never been this dangerous. This meant that there might be clues to the immortal token in that place. "Big brother, do you want to go take a look? As long as we are careful, there shouldn't be any problems." The Colossus spoke. The eyes of the 9-headed lion flickered. Then he nodded slightly. "I think so too. That place must be related to the clues. Let's go and take a look." They moved quickly. Soon, they came to the broken mountain peak. The surrounding demonic beasts quickly knelt down and saluted. Lin Xian's face was also pale. He said, "Seniors, it's great that you're here." "Humph!" The Colossus snorted coldly. He couldn't wait to kill Lin Xian right now. However, he didn't act. He had to confirm whether it was a clue to the immortal token. Then he could make a move. "You're the only one who saw the situation. Tell us what you know." The Colossus looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, 2 Earth immortals attacked the treasures in the sky. However, countless divine power appeared in the sky. In the midst of the divine power, a huge hand suddenly appeared and enveloped the young man. The 9-headed lion and the Colossus were silent after hearing this. They thought of a name in their hearts, Immortal Hand. "You all wait here. The 2 of us will go and take a look." "You're not allowed to go either." The Colossus stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "I'm so weak. I don't dare to go over." After speaking, he spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood. Then, the 2 Earth immortals rushed over. Soon, an earth-shattering sound came from inside. There were also angry roars. "Big brother, save me. Let me out." This was the voice of Eagle God and Violet Immortal. The 2 of them were indeed not dead. They were just trapped. With their strength, they couldn't rush out at all. "Don't worry, we're here to save you." The Colossus roared furiously as its 4 feet grew larger. They were like divine pillars that reached the heavens as they ruthlessly smashed down. The 9-headed lion roared. His strength was even more terrifying. The 9 heads actually released different powers as if they were going to destroy the world. This battle lasted for half a month. Every day, it was terrifying. Half a month later, a shattering sound suddenly came from the front. Then 2 figures rushed out. A figure turned into a terrifying demon beast. His wings covered the sky and earth. The other purple sword energy tore through the sky. It was Eagle God and Violet Immortal. After the 2 of them came out, they roared at the sky. Then, their eyes began to search. They stared at Lin Xian. "Kid, you dared to trick me?" A sword slashed down. Eagle God's side was also seething with killing intent. "I have the Guardian Flag." Lin Xian took out the small green flag and raised it in the air. "Are you going to violate the rules of the Immortal City?" Buzz! The purple sword energy stopped in midair. However, the boundless killing intent didn't disappear. Lin Xian said loudly. "Seniors, think carefully. What do the treasures in the sky have to do with me? You were too greedy and wanted to swallow all the treasures. That's why you were trapped. And I'm the only one who saw this scene. What? Are you going to kill me?" "Don't act rashly," the 9-headed lion said. Lin Xian continued. "Furthermore, I've examined every single speck of light. This particular speck of light is extremely ferocious. I guess the secret of the immortal token must be here." "That's right, Big Brother, and I think so too. Let's check it together. There's an unusual aura here." Eagle God's eyes flashed. He said, "We have to take that kid with us. We have to keep an eye on him at all times so that he won't play any tricks. Lin Xian, come here." The 9-headed lion looked at Lin Xian and said, You are also the representative of the 7th level of heaven. So you must come with us to search for clues this time. Thank you, seniors. Not only was Lin Xian not afraid, but he was also very happy. He didn't seem to know the danger and quickly rushed over. However, he snorted coldly in his heart. Old things, you've been tricked. Soon, all of you will be in despair. That's right, trapping these 2 land immortals was part of his plan. Rescuing them was also part of his plan. Only with a plan within a plan could he deceive these land immortals. After all, the 9-headed lion was very cautious. However, no matter how cautious he had no choice but to continue. Chapter 62-94. Lin Xian came to the side of the 4 Earth Immortals. To be exact, he walked in the center, surrounded by Earth Immortals. Now, he couldn't escape even if he had wings. However, he didn't care. Instead, he said, "Seniors, you're really good to me. This way, I won't have to worry about any attacks." Hearing this, the 4 Earth Immortals sneered. "Now, we didn't attack you because of the rules. Once we find a clue, we'll kill you first." Eagle God pointed below and said, "Although we were trapped here before, we could still feel that there was more mysterious information below. However, we couldn't break it at that time. Big brother, let's work together." The 9-headed lion nodded. Then, they quickly worked together. At this moment, the great emperors and super great emperors behind also rushed over. A few people from 9th heaven said, "Seniors, please take us with you. We're also here on behalf of 9th heaven. Come over." The 9-headed lion didn't refuse and allowed them to enter together. Because he knew that the array below was even more terrifying. A single Earth Immortal might not be able to block it. If these great emperors and super great emperors really died after entering, it had nothing to do with him. The people of Earth quickly walked into the depths of the mountain. Gradually, they began to sense a mysterious aura emerging from the ground. The aura made many super great emperors tremble. Some great emperors exclaimed, "This is the power of immortality. I can feel the power of immortality. Yes, the immortal aura. This place was indeed related to immortality. The immortal token should be in front of them." They were too excited and happy. Lin Xian's eyes also turned red. However, he restrained himself very well. Soon, the light in his eyes disappeared. However, Purple Immortal and the others sneered. "Young people are young. Although it was only for a moment, we still saw it. This kid must have other trump cards to snatch the immortal token." However, it was impossible. They continued to move forward. After about 5 days, they finally stopped. Below, there was a cave, and inside, there was an ancient altar. The patterns on the altar were immortal runes, surrounded by immortal aura. On the altar there was a key. A primitive, simple, and mysterious key. That key should be the clue to the immortal order. At this moment, the 4 Earth Immortals trembled with excitement. They could no longer remain calm. The great emperors and super great emperors behind him were also surprised. So it was a key. Great, I finally found it. They were happy too. At this time, Lin Xian said faintly, "Seniors, there is only one key." That was all he said. He didn't say anything else after that. However, everyone could tell that this guy was trying to sow discord. After all, it was a key. How could they split it? It was still a problem. "Brat, you talk too much. Do you want to die?" Violet Immortal said coldly. The Colossus also said, "How do we divide? It's not up to you to think. Anyway, you don't have a share." They didn't have the slightest bit of doubt because Lin Xian's performance was just too normal. The 9-headed lion looked at Shizhong and said, "Let's think about how to break the array first." Previously, there had already been such a terrifying immortal hand. Around this clue, there should be even more terrifying formations. Yes, that's right. Eagle Deity also nodded. Several super great emperors of the ninth heaven also took a deep breath. It really appeared. Then, they could summon their master. Thinking of this, they quietly put their hands into the storage ring and prepared to crush the teleportation array. At this time, a few black heads suddenly appeared above their heads. In an instant they were suppressed. The figures of the martial monarchs of the ninth heaven stiffened. Senior Lion King, why did you attack us? We represent the ninth heaven. The nine-headed lion snorted coldly. Don't worry, I won't kill you. But before that, if any one of you dares to move a finger, I'll let him know the fate of living a life worse than death. How could the nine-headed lion not know these people's little tricks? They wanted to summon the land immortals of the ninth heaven to come and snatch the treasure from them. Don't even think about it. Since those land immortals didn't come before, there was no need for them to come now. Violet Immortal also frowned slightly. To be honest, at that moment, he also wanted to summon his sister. But now it seemed that he should wait a little longer and see if this array could be broken. Let's kill this kid first. When he looked at Lin Xian, a cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. The Colossus also turned its head, raised its foot, and was about to land. Lin Xian said, Don't, we haven't got the key yet. If you kill me, the immortal information here will instantly explode. After all, you are breaking the rules now. Anyway, I can't run away. Why don't I wait until you have the key in your hands? It won't be too late to make a move on me then. Kid, you still have fantasies? Do you really think you can use it in the end? It's ridiculous. Not necessarily. Lin Xian held the guarding chess piece in his hand and said, If you want to make a move, you have to bear the consequences. Break the array first, don't bother with this kid anymore. The nine-headed lion walked over. The four land immortals began to search, and an overwhelming power erupted. Everyone retreated into the distance. Lin Xian also retreated. However, at this time, one of the nine-headed lion's heads directly covered him and brought him to his side. At the same time, a cold voice sounded. You are not allowed to go anywhere, just stay under my nose. If you dare to do anything, I will kill you immediately. Do you understand? Damn it. Lin Xian gritted his teeth, showing a trace of unhappiness. The nine-headed lion laughed heartily. Right now, everything was under his control. He couldn't come to the people of the ninth level of heaven. As for this purple immortal, there was nothing to be afraid of. He even knew that purple immortal and the concrete elephant had joined hands. But so what? He had a way to dissolve the alliance between the two. Of course, he didn't break it now, because this array was extremely terrifying, and the four of them had to go all out. Boom! The Colossus's foot struck forward, and suddenly, the sky fell and the earth cracked. However, the array in front of them didn't move at all. They couldn't get close to the ancient altar at all. The immortal runes on the altar seemed to have awakened. They spun quickly, emitting a mysterious aura. So terrifying. The Colossus's arm trembled, but he was even more excited. The Colossus said, This array is much more difficult than the previous one. Purple Immortal also shouted angrily and slashed out with her sword. Boom! Boom! The battle had completely erupted. At this time, a piercing light suddenly erupted from the immortal altar. Then, the array turned into a peerless killing intent that swept in all directions. Run! The surrounding great emperors fled crazily. Some of them were directly cut in half, and their blood stained the ground red. Run far away! These people moved quickly, and they also retreated. However, at this time, a ray of array light directly pierced through Tsai Yao's body. No! He let out a miserable cry and wanted to resist, but it was too late. In an instant, his body and soul were destroyed. Chapter 6295. When the others saw this scene, they ran even faster. No one below the Earth Immortal level could stop this power. They would be courting death if they stayed here. Another thunderbolt flew over. A super great emperor of the 9th level of heaven was pierced through. He let out an unwilling roar. How could this be? He represented the 9th level of heaven. However, it was useless. In front of this peerless array, he was just an ant. With despair and unwillingness, he fell to the ground. As for the others, some were blown away by a force and vomited blood. Some were cut in half. In short, it was very miserable. The only one who was safe was Lin Xian. Because Lin Xian was covered by the 9-headed lion's head. Break it with all your strength, and don't hold back. The 9-headed lion roared. The other heads unleashed their power and attacked continuously like heaven immortals. At the same time, Purple Immortal said, I'm afraid with our strength, we can't break it in a short time. How about this? How about calling my sister over? Dream on. Eagle God shouted coldly. The 9-headed lion also said, If you dare to attack, don't blame us 3 brothers for suppressing you first. Then the 3 of us will slowly break the array. Even if it takes 100 or 1,000 years, so what? Hearing this, Purple Immortal gritted her teeth. Damn it, damn it! Lin Xian sighed in his heart. He really hoped that Purple Immortal's sister would come. Because from what he heard, the other party's sister was an Earth Immortal of the 9th level of heaven. If the other party came, he could kill them all. If she didn't come, it would be troublesome when he went to the 9th level of heaven in the future. However, the 9-headed lion and the others didn't think so. They wouldn't allow any Earth Immortal to come. They continued to attack. Monstrous divine power burst out, and the immortal chi was vast. Purple Immortal's face was cold as she attacked. However, she wasn't particularly worried, because she still had a way to summon her sister. However, it would take some time. It just so happened that this array was very difficult, so she had plenty of time. This method was telepathy. If they were in the same level of heaven, this supernatural power could instantly let his sister know his current situation. But now, she wanted to send the news of the 9th level of heaven. It needed to be transmitted across heaven and earth. On the other hand, breaking through heaven and earth energy required a lot of energy, which could only be consumed through time. In the blink of an eye, 1 month passed. 3 months passed. Half a year passed. The battle continued. Developing here was really too terrifying. The few Earth Immortals seemed to be very patient. On this day, Zixian's lips curled into a smile. After spending half a year, he finally managed to send a message through telepathy. The 9th heaven. Purple Mountain. The mysterious purple-clothed woman suddenly opened her eyes. She had found a clue. That was really fast. She was really surprised. Although she had sent her younger brother and her subordinates down. However, there were still no clues. However, she was not in a hurry. How long had it been? Not even a year had passed. How could they possibly find any clues? She didn't expect that she would actually get a clue now. Their minds were connected. The power of the formation was beyond imagination. The purple-robed lady's eyes flickered. At the same time, she snorted coldly. This 9-headed lion was really overbearing. It directly controlled the people of the 9th layer of heaven. Therefore, no news could be spread. She looked into the distance and smiled. Fortunately, I have a younger brother down there. I think the other old monsters still don't know the news, right? The purple-robed lady planned to act quickly. She stretched out her jade-like hand and a purple vortex appeared. World Creation Mountain. An ancient and mysterious altar. The 4 Earth Immortals were still fighting with all their might. At this moment, a purple vortex suddenly appeared. Then, a palm fiercely slapped down. The formation began to shake violently. The power of the 5th Earth Immortal. Everyone was shocked. Who was it? The other Earth Immortals were also stunned. Zixian smiled. Sister, you're finally here. Damn it, how could this be? Eagle God's expression changed. The 9-headed lion also frowned. He stared at Zixian with killing intent in his eyes. However, at this moment, a cold voice came from the vortex. "Nine-headed lion, if you dare to make a move on my brother, I will kill you even if I cross worlds." Boom! 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 At this moment, two more spatial cracks appeared in the surroundings. Following that, terrifying lightning bolts and a terrifying storm swept towards the formation. Suddenly, the formation shook violently. Were there more Earth Immortals? The expressions of Eagle God and the others turned completely ugly. In this way, the three brothers had no advantage. Even Ziyan was angry. "You know about it too." An old voice came from the lightning storm. "Ziyan, we know that you have a younger brother in the lower realm. So, we have been watching your movements. When you made your move, we knew. Everyone, let's break the formation together." The nine-headed lion and the others had no choice but to agree. This time, there were 7 Earth Immortals. The power was much higher than before. They attacked together. The formation shook violently as if it couldn't hold on at all. The runes kept shattering. Lin Xian was both happy and worried. He was happy that Zi Xian's sister had finally made a move. However, there were 2 more Earth Immortals. In this way, would his plan succeed? After all, he didn't plan to suppress so many Earth Immortals. However, after watching for a while, he heaved a sigh of relief. Although a few cracks appeared in the sky, the true bodies of the Earth Immortals didn't come over. It seemed that these people had to pay a huge price if they wanted to come down. Crack! Crack! More and more of the formation in front of them shattered. Everyone moved forward. Finally, they were close to the ancient altar. "Buzz! Great, sister, hurry up!" Zi Xian roared. He had already distanced himself from the nine-headed lion and the others. In the purple vortex, a jade-like hand finally reached out. Another arm grabbed the key below. "How dare you!" The nine-headed lion roared angrily, his head shaking the sky. However, the other Earth Immortals also attacked. 3 arms appeared in the sky, each of them carrying purple smoke, a terrifying storm, and a sky full of lightning. "Third brother, you attack!" The nine-headed lion roared. Eagle God was the fastest. However, the other Earth Immortals weren't slow either. They were only a little behind before they enveloped the ancient altar. At this moment, the ancient altar suddenly erupted with a terrifying light. On the ancient altar, endless runes condensed into an eye and suddenly opened. That gaze enveloped the entire world. It was eerie and creepy. He was the fastest, so he couldn't dodge at all. After being enveloped by that gaze, he felt that his entire body was about to stiffen. At the same time, he let out a terrified roar. "Immortal Eye!" The other Earth Immortals were also shocked. What was going on? Why did the Immortal Eye only open now? Could it be that someone was consciously controlling it? "Run!" They retreated frantically. But it was already too late. In the sky, the 3 arms of the 9th heaven also wanted to escape. However, they were all enveloped by the gaze in an instant. The 3 arms immediately stiffened, and their movements became very slow. "Sister, save me!" Zi Xian was also terrified. Because he felt that some mysterious patterns had appeared on his body. His entire body seemed to have turned into a statue. Chapter 6296. Mysterious patterns appeared on the bodies of the Earth Immortals. They looked like the patterns of stones. Their bodies were about to turn into statues. The nine-headed lion roared angrily and used all its firepower to block the attack. They quickly retreated. The other Earth Immortals did the same. They even burned their immortal chi and divine fire without any regard for their lives. They were really afraid. The light from the Eye of Immortality was called the Light of Immortality. Once they were enveloped by it, they would be petrified and turned into stone men. At that time, it would be difficult for them to even move, and their strength would disappear. So now, even if they risked their lives to damage their foundation, they couldn't stay here. They had to escape. Don't you think it's too late to escape? At this moment, a sneer was heard. The voice was very young. Who was it? Eagle God roared. Purple Immortal also roared. But in the next moment, they were stunned. It was Lin Xian's voice. He suddenly turned his head. Lin Xian sneered. Kid, do you want to die? Even we can't resist it, let alone you. Big brother kill him? The nine-headed lion's face turned cold, and he wanted to attack. But at this moment, Lin Xian's back split open. A palm appeared behind him and suddenly grew larger, covering the sky and the earth. It was a huge hand, the hand of immortality. Its appearance immediately shrouded the entire sky. It sealed off all the Earth Immortals' escape routes. Damn it, why do you have the hand of immortality? The nine-headed lion roared crazily. One of his heads was instantly shattered, and blood splattered everywhere. Not only that, his scalp went numb. He felt that he had fallen into a trap. You really tricked us. The other Earth Immortals also understood and gritted their teeth. They had fallen into a trap. That's right, they had fallen into a trap. All of you had fallen into my trap. After saying that, the hand of immortality behind Lin Xian became even more terrifying. Go to hell. The Colossus roared and stomped on Lin Xian, crushing Lin Xian's body. He was finally dead. Little ant, go to hell. They roared crazily. Killing Lin Xian would relieve the hatred in his heart. Although they were smiling, their expressions were extremely ugly. With the immortal hand and the immortal eye, there was no way they could escape. In the end, these land immortals screamed in despair. In fact, the body of the Colossus collapsed directly. The soul wanted to escape, but it was useless. Under the gaze of the undying eye, stone patterns began to appear on their bodies. Gradually, they turned into statues. Damn it! In the sky, the three Earth Immortals of the ninth heaven also roared. Their outstretched hands were completely petrified. Furthermore, this power was still spreading throughout their bodies. They hurriedly retracted their palms and defended themselves. This scene was extremely terrifying. The land immortals who were previously incomparably terrifying and could suppress heaven and earth had all turned into statues and stood there. He was surrounded by a terrifying aura of destruction. The emperors in the distance were all stunned. What's going on? How did their master, a land immortal, become a statue? Should I go over and take a look? That's right, how could this be? Are you courting death? Even an earth immortal couldn't resist it, yet you still want to go over. If you want to die, don't drag me along. All kinds of discussions could be heard. These emperors didn't leave, nor did they dare to go over. At that moment, a figure began to walk forward. Soon, he arrived at the battlefield ahead of him. Who is it? You're so reckless. At this time, if you want to go over, I think you're dead. When they looked over, they were stunned. It's that kid. This back view is so familiar. It's Lin Xian, he's not dead. Impossible, I saw with my own eyes that he was crushed by the giant elephant. How could he not be dead? Magical, it's really magical. The figure walked over and looked at the statues, exclaiming in surprise. At this moment, a roar came from the statue. You're not dead either, how is this possible? This was the voice of the giant elephant. Lin Xian was shocked and quickly retreated. However, he soon smiled. It seems that your bodies have been petrified and your power has disappeared. However, it's not true death. It should be a special state of life. Thinking of this, he smiled again. That's right, I'm indeed not dead. What you killed was just an incarnation. Impossible? You even fooled me. You don't have such ability. The nine-headed lion's voice was also heard. At this moment, it had turned into a lion statue, which was very spectacular. Lin Xian snorted. Impossible? I think you're the ignorant one. The seventh heaven is the heavenly cycle master. Don't you know this little news? The heavenly cycle master made a death substitute rune for me. Just now, I used this kind of rune. By the way, does Yu Xianer know about the seventh heaven's earth immortal? Back then, she was also fooled by this kind of rune. That's why she was seriously injured by me. What? The Heavenly Cycle Master's rune? Damn it! The giant elephant roared. The 9-headed lion also roared angrily. Eagle Deity was completely silent. Purple Deity, on the other hand, went crazy. Previously, he mocked Yuxianer for being an idiot for being defeated by a young emperor. But now, he was also fooled by a young man. Moreover, his ending was worse than Yuxianer's. Yuxianer was seriously injured, but she could still recover. However, they couldn't. After being petrified, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens for them to recover. Although they wouldn't die, living in despair like this was even more miserable. For Earth immortals were petrified, and the other 3 had their arms petrified. Unfortunately, Purple Deity's sister only had one arm petrified. If she was completely petrified, he would have one less enemy when he went to the 9th heaven. However, this kind of result was already very satisfactory. At least, the immortal hand was very satisfied. If it wasn't for Lin Xian's help, he could at most beat these Earth immortals away. However, it was impossible to completely petrify these Earth immortals. When these Earth immortals recovered, they would probably make a comeback. But this time, these Earth immortals probably wouldn't make a move for a long time. It would be very difficult to break through the petrification. Young man, you really did it. The immortal hand's voice sounded. Lin Xian's smile disappeared. Instead, he frowned. He remembered something. When he entered the immortal city, there was a condition. If they failed, the Earth immortals of the divine realm would be petrified. At that time, he didn't quite understand. But now, when he saw these few statues, he felt a chill in his heart. The so-called petrification of the Earth immortals was probably the scene in front of him. Lin Xian stood next to the Earth immortals. He could only feel that these people were still alive. The power in their bodies had disappeared. They couldn't even move. If they were really petrified, then it would be too tragic. Their top fighting strength would disappear instantly. At that time, the Otherworld Heavenly King would probably attack crazily and destroy the Divine Realm in one fell swoop. But fortunately, it seemed that the Divine Realm had the upper hand for now. He was really looking forward to seeing the Earth immortals of the Otherworld Heavenly King petrified. Chapter 6297. Lin Xian was shocked that the immortal realm had such a terrifying power that it could petrify the Earth immortals. At the same time, he was even more curious. What exactly was the immortal realm? Was it a person or a realm? He didn't know anything. Because no one could answer him. These Earth immortals seemed to be afraid of something and didn't dare to say anything. However, Lin Xian knew that petrification wasn't absolute. Once the petrification was broken, it could be restored again. For example, the war god seemed to have been petrified before, but later he broke the petrification. When Lin Xian saw the war god for the first time, the other party was like a stone monkey. However, in the following battle, the war god was able to make a move. Although there were still stone-like patterns on his body, he had already broken through the petrification. However, the time spent in this process should be very long. Lin Xian asked. What exactly is this petrification? The immortal hand said. It's a very strange state. It's just that we let them feel it in advance. What does it mean to feel it in advance? Lin Xian was taken aback. Could it be that the Earth immortals would eventually return to the petrified state? The doubts in his heart grew even greater. The immortal hand said. Young man, you'll know when you become an Earth immortal. Telling you now will only increase your worries. Well, here's what you want. With a wave of the immortal hand, the key flew to Lin Xian. This is the clue to the immortal token. You really surprised me. Maybe this time, you really have a chance to get the immortal token. Good luck. With that, the immortal hand waved again, and a big crack appeared in the sky. Then, Lin Xian and the other great emperors who were still alive all flew into the big crack and disappeared. Under the earth of the world creation mountain, peace was restored again. The immortal eye and immortal hand also sank into the earth. It was as if all the battles had never happened. However, there were only a few more mysterious statues. Damn it! The Colossus roared. I actually fell into the hands of a little ant and died with grievances. Purple Immortal also gritted her teeth. Damn brat, just you wait, my sister will avenge me. The eagle god was silent. Did he fail? The nine-headed lion was even more incredulous. All along, he had thought that he was in control of the entire situation. He had completely disregarded Lin Xian. But now, he had been utterly defeated. Moreover, he had been defeated by a young man. Unbearable. All kinds of crazy roars came from under the ground, shaking the nine heavens. However, that was all they could do. They couldn't take revenge. They couldn't do anything. He could only feel endless regret and despair. Boom! Boom! Above the sky of the creation boundary mountain, a huge crack appeared, and then, several figures fell down. After these people fell, they were still in a daze. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? They were all stunned. They were the subordinates of the Earth Immortal. Earlier, they had seen an unbelievable scene. The Earth Immortals attacked the array formation with irresistible force and victory was about to be achieved. But at this moment, the void tore apart as the unparalleled powerful beings of the nine heavens made their moves to snatch it. The scene became confusing. In the end, who would emerge victorious? He had no idea either. However, they guessed that it might be the nine-headed lion. After all, if the three brothers worked together, they could sweep through everything. Of course, those people of the nine heavens believed that their master would win. Because the Earth Immortals of the nine heavens were even more terrifying. However, the situation once again exceeded their expectations. The little ant in their eyes, Lin Xian, suddenly erupted with immortal power. He even threatened that this was all a trap set by him. And this was indeed a trap. The mysterious altar, the immortal eye, directly turned these Earth Immortals into stone men. The monstrous divine power disappeared, the terrifying immortal chi disappeared, only a few cold stones stood there. On the other hand, Lin Xian had become the ultimate winner. He had obtained the key and the clue to the immortal badge. All of this was too shocking that their brains couldn't react. How could Lin Xian be so powerful? Wasn't he just a little ant? Why was he so terrifying? They finally got a clue. Next, it was time to go to the nine heavens. Not far away from them, Lin Xian's voice came. These great emperors came back to their senses. When they looked at Lin Xian, they were both terrified and gnashing their teeth. They couldn't accept that the other party had defeated their master. Some people's eyes were even fiery red. Now that they didn't have the power of immortality, could they make a move on Lin Xian? After all, the other party had the clue of the immortal token in his hand. It was something that all the Earth Immortals wanted. Looking at your eyes, you're planning to do something to me. You're courting death. Lin Xian sneered. Kneel down and kowtow, and I'll spare you this time. These words made the great emperors on the opposite side completely angry. Their faces darkened. Even if you win this time, so what? That's not your own strength at all. That's right, you're just combining the power of immortality. Otherwise, with your own strength, the Earth Immortals can slap you to death with one hand. Everyone, let's join hands and kill this kid to avenge our Earth Immortals. A powerhouse stood out. He was the representative of the ninth heaven. A terrifying storm flickered on his body. Kill. With a roar, he struck out a storm that filled the sky. Seeing this, the others also attacked. Lin Xian's figure flashed, and the heavenly eagle dodged in an instant. Then, he rushed over. He didn't kill the others. Instead, he directly rushed towards the Wind Emperor. Boom! The golden fist landed on the other party's body. The Wind Emperor roared furiously and unleashed a terrifying wind armor to defend against the attack. It even formed countless wind blades that slashed forward. An earth-shaking sound rang out, but the Wind Emperor felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He felt that all his armor had been shattered, and all his bones had been broken. How is this possible? So powerful. He opened his mouth and blood flowed out. He went crazy. How is this possible? The other party was just a great emperor, and he was a super great emperor. He should be able to crush the other party. However, he could feel the terror of the other party's fist. The other party's strength seemed to have surpassed his. It felt so unreal for an early-stage great emperor to defeat him. Boom! It was another golden right fist, and it directly hit the Wind Emperor to the ground. Then Lin Xian stepped on the other party's head, and a biting cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. With the point of his finger, the sword she pierced through the other party's body. Ah! The Wind Emperor let out a miserable roar because he felt that not only was the other party's physique powerful, but also the sword chi. The sword chi was even more terrifying. When the sword chi entered his body, it began to destroy his meridians and immortal chi. This made him despair. If his immortal chi was torn apart, he would be crippled even if he didn't die. You can't kill me. I'm the disciple of the God of Wind. If you kill me, my master won't forgive you. My master is in the 9th heaven, and he hasn't been petrified. So, you can't kill me. You don't want to be enemies with an Earth Immortal, do you? Chapter 62-98. The Wind Emperor felt that he was right. The other party would definitely go to the 9th heaven. The other party had already offended several Earth Immortals. He couldn't offend another Earth Immortal, right? The 9th heaven didn't have the power of immortality to cooperate with the other party, so this kid definitely wouldn't dare to make a move. After Lin Xian heard this, he laughed out loud. So what if I'm an enemy of an Earth Immortal? Not to mention you, the 4 Earth Immortals inside are all my masterpieces. Do you think I'm afraid of you? With that, Lin Xian's sword chi slashed down again, piercing through the other party's body. Ah! The Wind Emperor was extremely miserable. His foundation was severely damaged, and his immortal chi was cracking. In this way, even if he didn't die, he would be crippled. Lin Xian formed a sword array, enveloped the other party, and threw him into the distance. Then, he turned his head and looked at the people around him. He said coldly, "Who dares to be my enemy?" The others were all scared silly, and their bodies began to tremble. This guy was really crazy. Run quickly. They wanted to escape danger. Lin Xian cut through heaven and earth with his sword. He said, "I told you, kowtow and apologize to me, and I'll let you leave. Otherwise, no one can leave today. You're courting death." The others were still angry. Everyone joined forces. With that, they attacked crazily with terrifying power. Lin Xian shouted angrily, "Immortal Senior, please seal the 8th heaven. Even if they escape to the ends of the earth, as long as they are still in this heaven, I will hunt them down." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Xian made his move. The great emperors were no match for him at all. Even the late-stage great emperors were no match for him. As soon as the immortal power was released, it turned into a shocking rainbow, and these people immediately screamed miserably. Although the super great emperor had escaped, Lin Xian still chased after him crazily. He was very fast. In the end, these people had no choice but to say, "Can't we apologize?" They were really on the verge of collapse. Kneel down and apologize. Although they were unwilling, what could they do? Earth Immortals would rather die than offend him, let alone great emperors like them. Therefore, they were prepared to kneel down and apologize. However, after kowtowing, Lin Xian said, "That was before. You guys dared to resist just now, so I'm adding more conditions. Cripple your own divine flame and immortal energy, and I'll forgive you all. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." "What?" Destroy his own divine fire and immortal chi? In your dreams? A great emperor roared. Lin Xian slashed his opponent into two halves. At the same time, the power of the immortals erupted from his body. Who is not convinced? He asked in a low voice. Step forward now, and I'll send him on his way myself. Everyone trembled. What kind of immortal chi was that? What kind of power was this? This kid's aura was too strange. It was completely different from theirs. It was also different from the land immortals. Some of the great emperors were scared out of their wits. With a boom, their immortal energy shattered. In an instant, his cultivation level dropped to that of a supreme. The others had no choice but to do so. In the end, those who were still alive all became supreme beings. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian snorted coldly. I won't kill you. You guys can leave. These people were no longer a threat. They gritted their teeth and quickly fled. This time, they had indeed fallen. They had to leave this place quickly. There was another reason why Lin Xian didn't kill these people. That was, they were all witnesses. These people had personally witnessed the petrification of the land immortals. Moreover, these were all subordinates of the land immortals. Their status was also extraordinary. It would only be true if these people spread the news. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian took out an array and said to the array, Senior Heavenly Master, I did it. I got a clue to the immortal token. The seventh heaven. The ruins of the array sect. The Heavenly Master opened his eyes. When he heard the voice coming from the array, his body swayed slightly. Did he really do it? This young man was too extraordinary. At this moment, Lin Xian's voice came from the array. Senior, I still need you to do something for me. Spread this news throughout Immortal City. Except for the ninth heaven, spread it to the other heavens. Let them know that the guardians and land immortals have all been petrified and no longer pose a threat. Are you worried about the people of the ninth heaven? The Heavenly Master said. Don't worry, I'll start now. That's right, Lin Xian was indeed worried. When the people of the ninth heaven knew that the seventh heaven was guarded by the Heavenly Master, they dared to secretly frame him. Now that the land immortals of the other heavens had disappeared, the people of the ninth heaven would hurry to support their own people. This way, the land immortals of the ninth heaven would control too much power in Immortal City. Lin Xian wouldn't allow this to happen because it was a huge threat to him. Therefore, he spread the news in advance and let the emperors of each heaven start fighting each other. This way, the people of the ninth heaven wouldn't be easy to control. When the news spread, the entire Immortal City was shocked. The people of the sixth heaven were all stunned. What? Purple Immortal disappeared? Turned into a statue? The people of the fifth heaven, fourth heaven, and third heaven were all dumbfounded. At first, they didn't believe it. What kind of joke is this? That was a land immortal who could sweep across a world and suppress a heaven. Who could be his match? But soon, they realized that something was wrong. The super great emperors who had left with the land immortals had returned. They were very weak and had even suffered heavy injuries. These people rushed over and asked what had happened. Those injured super great emperors gritted their teeth and told them what had happened. At the same time, they said, It was Lin Xian who did it. They wanted to gather their strength and attack Lin Xian. However, they didn't know that Lin Xian had spread the news earlier. Therefore, when the people of these heavens heard that the land immortals were really suppressed, they were all stunned. Everyone stood there, motionless, their minds blank. After a few days, when these people came back to their senses, they gasped. Revenge on Lin Xian? What a joke! Was the land immortals strong? For land immortals working together were suppressed by Lin Xian. Who would dare to make a move? It was too scary, too dreamy. The land immortals had always been the absolute strength that no one could surpass. But now, the situation had changed. After the initial shock and fear, they gradually became greedy. Since the land immortals were no longer around, could they replace them? The Land Immortals mansion was still there. Could they become the new Land Immortals? In an instant, some super great emperors rushed over, wanting to snatch the Land Immortals' treasures. There were more than one person who had this thought. Therefore, a great battle broke out in an instant. Get lost! I am Master's most capable subordinate. Nonsense! I am the disciple of the Land Immortals. What right do you have to tell me to get lost? Then let's fight. Only the strongest are worthy of the Land Immortals' treasures. Chapter 62-99 Immortal City. The people of the divine realm were scattered in different heavens. At this moment, when they heard the news, they were all stunned. What? Lin Xian suppressed 4 Land Immortals? Impossible, right? Had Lin Gongzi become so powerful? Heavens, could it be that he had also broken through to become a Land Immortal? These people were all stunned. Their first feeling was that it was unreal. His second reaction was to wonder if someone was going to attack them. Would the forces of the Land Immortals attack the people of the divine realm? This made them feel as if they were facing a great enemy, and they all hid. However, after waiting for a while, they realized that there was nothing. Instead, everyone was fighting for the Land Immortals' treasures. Let's go too. These people joined in one after another. On the other side, the people of the other side were also stunned. Nine-tailed Fox and the others couldn't believe their ears. What? Lin Xian suppressed the Land Immortals? What a joke. Even if that kid was 10 times stronger, he wouldn't be able to do it. They didn't believe that this was done by Lin Xian. However, the disappearance of the Land Immortals might be true. That was because an earth-shattering battle had already taken place where they were. Therefore, the people of the other side also joined in the fight. These battles were extremely terrifying. Everyone wanted to obtain the treasures. However, there was one person who had the most advantage, and that was the Golden Lion King. The Golden Lion King had followed the 9-headed lion before. However, this time, he didn't go to the 8th heaven. Instead, he stayed in the 9-headed lion's residence. Therefore, when the 9-headed lion disappeared, the Golden Lion King received the news. He knew that this matter was related to Lin Xian. He was stunned at first, then he immediately took action and began to collect the 9-headed lion's resources. Did the 9-headed lion treat him well? He couldn't say. The other party didn't threaten him. However, he didn't nurture him. The other party put the Golden Lion King here just to study the Golden Lion King's bloodline. The Golden Lion King was also a beast of heaven and earth. Moreover, it was a mutated lion race. Therefore, this bloodline didn't exist in the Immortal City. After seeing it this time, the 9-headed lion was immediately interested. He brought the Golden Lion King to his side. Initially, he had thought that after finding clues about the Immortal Token, he would study the Golden Bloodline properly. But to his surprise, he was petrified this time around. Although the Golden Lion King didn't know the 9-headed lion's goal, he didn't feel any warmth. Moreover, he was from the God Realm. Therefore, everything he did was for the God Realm. The Golden Lion King immediately took action. It even began to suppress the surrounding demonic beasts for its own use. The battles in the other heavens were extremely intense, but the 9th heaven was incomparably quiet. There was no news about Lin Xian here. In fact, they didn't even know what was happening in the other heavens. After all, every layer of heaven had the power of heaven and earth as a fortress that isolated everything. Only by paying a huge price would one be able to cross it. At this moment, the 9th heaven fell into a strange silence. All the cultivators felt a sense of fear, as if a storm was about to arrive. However, no one knew what had happened. Purple Mountain. This was where Ziyan was, a sacred place. No one dared to behave atrociously here. The atmosphere in the Purple Mountain was even more solemn. Inside the mountain, there was a terrifying power that permeated the air every day. Ziyan's endless immortal chi condensed, and poured into her right hand. Her right hand had become 10 points terrifying. One must know that she was as beautiful as a fairy from the 9 heavens. However, at this moment, her right hand had turned into a stone arm. It was ferocious and ugly. More importantly, her right hand couldn't feel anything. Even if she wanted to cut off her arm, she couldn't grab it. To put it more accurately, her right hand seemed to have been crippled. However, the flesh and blood of her right hand were crippled. Even the part of her right hand that was part of her soul was petrified. There was no reaction at all. How could this be? Damn it! Recover! Zien screamed. She tried another method, but it was still useless. In the next moment, she waved her hand and a few heavenly treasures flew over from afar. Among them, there was a Qilin divine medicine. That medicinal herb had the appearance of a Qilin. Its entire body was emitting a purple light. It was incomparably mysterious. If this medicine was taken outside, it would be enough to make any great emperor go crazy. In fact, even the other Earth immortals would be envious. The Qilin divine medicine split open and fused into the petrified right arm. Immediately, the medicinal power bloomed, and the entire arm shook violently. Zien held her breath. She was incomparably nervous. She didn't know if she could recover. The purple light on her right arm became more and more terrifying. The phantom of a purple Qilin roared towards the sky, shaking the 9 heavens. However, in the next moment, these phantoms disappeared without a trace. Her entire right hand was completely unresponsive. Damn it, how could this be? I don't believe it! With a wave of her hand, she took out another crystal. This crystal was as big as a millstone. It was crystal clear. This was a spiritual liquid of heaven and earth. It was a spiritual liquid that had been condensed for millions of years. It was enough to bring a great emperor back to life. Even if an Earth immortal was severely injured, after eating a piece, he would be able to instantly recover his qi and blood. This was a rare treasure. She cut the millstone-sized spiritual liquid of heaven and earth into half, and then turned half of it into liquid and poured it into her right hand. However, it was still useless. Zien went completely crazy. She roared towards the sky, damn it, why? The entire purple mountain shook violently. Outside the purple mountain, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Endless mountains shattered and the earth cracked. In the area under her control, many cultivators lost their lives because of this. However, Zien didn't care about this at all. She only wanted to recover her arm. Not to mention her, the other 2 Earth Immortals also didn't feel good. Back then, there were 3 Earth Immortals in the 9th heaven. Other than Zien, there were 2 others. One of them was the god of wind. In the 9th heaven, there was a place that was completely a place of storms. The wind here was extremely terrifying. Great emperors from other places didn't dare to rashly come here, because their bodies would be torn apart. And in the depths of this storm stood a figure. Around this figure, the wind roared and turned into a wind beast that circled around him. This was a man, a middle-aged man. However, his condition was also not good. His right hand was also petrified. There were several treasures in front of him. However, none of them could alleviate his injuries. He couldn't feel his right hand at all. There was another person, the lightning immortal. This was an old man surrounded by lightning. The powerful destructive power was enough to pierce through heaven and earth. His right hand was also unable to recover. In fact, he even used the power of lightning to destroy his body. His entire body was torn apart, turned into a bloody mist, and healed. However, his hand was still petrified. This strange power seemed to accompany him, undying and indestructible. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.